one. Nom, nom, nom. Hey, folks.
Hi.
As per usual, Izzy stuffing her face.
Fractured mirror.
Yes, fractured mirror. Julie, my dear.
I think she froze. Nope, there she is. Okay.
Hey, there we go. Now we're on screen. Hey, folks. Welcome to the Hold My Pen Promptcast. As you know, we have HMP timelines around here, and specialist Scuff is always running around. Today, it's hitting our fearless leader.
The penguin that we pay
Oh my.
attention.
Is the computer rebooted with the updates? Because you are R2D2ing, my dear.
It's probably.
Here we go again.
Hey.
Hey.
You're
Pretty
You're
clear.
clearer now.
Am I coming better? Okay.
There we go. And now we lost her. And she's back.
What I have a feeling it's going to be like this all night.
You edit.
Yeah, someone catch the penguin, please.
I didn't touch anything. Somebody catch the penguin. Tell that little fucker to leave me alone. I keep getting hit for fucking high CPU output. I'm like, everything is shut down.
The camera keeps blinking a little bit. And don't take this the wrong way. I'm just glad it's not me this time. Let it be someone else for a night. Sorry. This time I really truly am sorry for saying it. Unlike all the times that I keep sending you hot Korean dudes from K-pop bands going sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. I mean, worst case scenario, and I drop again. All we gotta do is put cash over on the other side, and then I'll if I pop again, I'll just stay down because obviously
Yes.
something more is going on, and I'm not trying to drag down the show. Yeah, that fucking penguin's been fucking with me all day.
All right. It wouldn't be an HMP show without having to wrestle that penguin down.
Yup.
I'm gonna go off my
What is
hand.
he wants to, he apparently wants tribute too. We're not getting
I,
to
I
have the
figure
penguin. We gotta pay the tribute.
I figured the penguin would be like out like blowing shit up, but you know.
No, the penguin's not out there blowing shit up. The penguin's out there setting the fucking bombs to be blown up. He can't blow off a flipper. Then he has too many questions.
True. How's everyone doing tonight?
Posted something that he posts every freaking year on 4th of July. Okay,
Let
how
me look
about
at
that?
my.
Is that better for you? Because I just got closer to the mic. Because I'm turned all the way up.
Is that better?
Okay.
And I even brought the mic closer, so I'm like in frame while I'm talking.
Coming in soft. I am.
No, your Kesha's coming in loud, meaning you are coming in soft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of wondering if it was because I was talking around a mouthful of stuff. You know, shoving my face.
No, I'm also
Yeah. Well, I moved the mic closer, so
I know I'm on a headset and I don't know if that makes a difference. So
Well, I also have our levels different on the back.
yeah.
So depending on which devices we're using, I'm always constantly adjusting A, B, C, and D feed.
Gotcha.
My spot
Right.
is the A feed, Julie's spot is the B feed, Kesha's spot is the C feed, and currently we have a blank spot that is normally the D feed. And so depending on who's in what box, what devices are being used, we adjust accordingly on the back end. Let's leave Thunderstruck out of this. All
I'm
right.
already dealing with that right now. Let's not.
I know. Let's not evoke it. Yeah.
Please. I already lost sleep last night between the storm and fireworks. We don't need more.
Right. Right. So all right. We are good to go. Never fails. We are finally ready around 17 to 18 minutes after the hour. And that's fine. That's HMP time. That is what it is. As you can see underneath the chat on our screen, we have our new theme thing graphic. So this should have been this week put together with a forum post in the Discord. We will get that handled tonight, tomorrow, with resources talking about what the theme really pertains to, and various different advices, etc. Life got away from us. Life be life, and so. In addition to that, we will be putting together something for the contest for August and September's images with the theme, the pixel count, all the good things, and when to have your submissions in by. and when voting will start and when voting ends on those. So we want we are a community, we are a cooperative, and therefore it's not just us doing this stuff. Your input is what gives us content. So this is a community. So that's all I got because ADHD brain. That's all I got. I'll remember something later.
Always remembering something later. Otherwise, welcome to the Hold My Pan Promptcast. You know all of us, we know all of you, but we would like to know more of the people that are out there and get them in here and force feed them our dry or sarcastic humor because, well, it's funny. I am your host, Julie DeFisher. You just heard from our co-host, Izzy Kraus. And just below Izzy, over on the other side, you have Miss Kesha Butler, who last night ended up with the most on-screen bleep outs that we had to go around. But you know what? I'd expect nothing less from Kesh because of one of her previous submissions.
I wanted to talk to you guys about that, but I want to do it off screen later. So
No, you're good.
Right.
It was good.
no,
It was good.
I'll tell you about it later.
No,
After.
yeah, I know. I mean, it just it is what it is. All right. Ads in 5. As Bitzer reminds us, subscribe
but yeah.
or suffer capitalism.
At least if you subscribe, you just deal with us. But yeah, we've got a great show tonight. We've got a great cast of characters that will be read out on this week's submissions. Izzy, remind us one time. What was our submission or our prompt for this week?
Our prompt for this week was to use the dialogue, "You must be mad coming here like this." This was submitted by Julie separately from our brainstorming sessions. And of course, as you know, there is a writing prompt channel in the Discord where you can bring us your concepts, your lines, your dialogue. And of course, once you're writing the submission, you don't have to stick exactly to the prompt. Adjust it for your writing style, your names, your professions, your genders, the whole kit and caboodle.
Okay.
Subs help keep
Cash, you got anything over there?
Not right now. Just same old. Working on my book and hating it. Editing the book and hating it.
The tough part.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. I just started back
That
over.
is definitely the thick of it.
Yes.
Because I found some stuff that explains some things that I've been doing. And I was like, oh, I've been doing this wrong. So I'm going back through. I started. Yeah. I was like, yeah, that's fine. It's fine. It's a work in progress. It will get there eventually. In 2027 at this rate. So I'm done. Let's go. Happy 4th, people.
I have thoughts. None of
Yeah.
them holy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, so are we ready for the spinner wheel?
Yeah. I'm ready. "19 thoughts."
You spin me right round, right round.
Is it supposed to be on screen, or do we not have it on screen tonight? Oh, there it is. Never mind. Sorry. I'll shut up now.
Who's up first? Victim number one. Keller! All right, ad break ends in 2.5 minutes. Sorry, not sorry, we're moving on. The day today of a demonic houseworker. Andy woke up, standing on a street in limbo with a building behind him, but something felt off. Andy noticed the dull colors were more clouded, and the ever present misty forms were vague. Everything felt obfuscated, out of place, almost as if this place is a different kind of reality. He looked at one of the bystanders. It was a phoenix wreathed in fire, peering at the street with little to no interest. To Andy, this guy looked more like a living smudge rather than a solid being. Andy looked at the sky. There was debris and buildings floating in the air. Some converged into a ball, colliding and extruding like a messy kaleidoscope of glass, concrete, and metal. Andy decided to test reality. He punched the wall of the building behind him. There wasn't any sensation of resistance before it gave way. It turned into a mist like substance that reformed into concrete. Okay, either I have a late blooming anomaly or I drank something that drove me insane. Yeah, no, Andy said as he observed the phenomenon. The last thing I remember was falling asleep after a very hard day of work, and if I focus long enough, me being lucid should change this. He clicked his tongue as he looked at the building. Andy focused and lent all his concentration to the top of the building, which now changed into a rubber duck's head. Huh? Well, that's new, but this feels different from a lucid dream. Where was he? Who or what dragged him into this place? It definitely felt oniric. Am I wrong that this is a dream? Despite not feeling anything from his dream surroundings, Andy could still sense his sleeping body back in the real world. As he walked up the street, a truck drove towards him at high speed, though he barely paid attention as it phased through him. Is this my dream realm? These were worlds inside people's heads. They were a combination of perception, belief, daily experiences, memories, influences, internal or external, as well as a myriad of things. They were often unique and varied due to how different people were. Not world warping like emanations, Andy thought as he walked on, a literal lane of memories reflected into the surrounding buildings. Although, wouldn't this need to be induced first? Dream realms weren't impossible to enter, and they had their own risks. Psychologists that were psychic mentalists could do such things, but even then, there was a lot of preparation for safety reasons. The difficulty depended on the person's mental conditions, too. Then again, lucid dreaming is a thing, Andy thought as he checked one of his memories. A photo his parents took on his birthday when his friends decided right in that moment they popped a balloon nearby him. I look constipated in that one. Andy proceeded to swat the windows of the building near him, with his hand moving the memories, not unlike a touchscreen. I guess realms like this would work with the closest thing you know about, Andy said aloud as he fiddled with his memories to see what had happened when he was awake. Let's see. That one. The first recollection had shown him going asleep on this day. All he needed to do was move them backwards. Now that I think about it, I felt oddly tired today, Andy said as he looked at the memory. Ugh, I'm thirsty, Andy said, sitting down in front of his coworker. Luis took a bottle out of his pack and drank it. Andy frowned. I wish I brought one of those with me. Today's job was particularly hard for Andy. Given he needed to clean a public bathroom, people would say what they will about hell and its rumored tortures, aka nothing beyond talking through your problems. Nobody had to face the faultlessness of public bathrooms. For all their preternatural abilities, supernatural people could feel psychologically exhausted on top of being disgusted. Andy had taken multiple showers to clean himself after that. Even then, he still felt dirty. He was filled with the need for a chemical disinfectant, not to mention the exhaustion that came with it was soul sucking. Ironic, coming from a fallen, Andy mentally joked. A waste of time is what it is. Unless one is being an evil jackass or wants to go crazy like those Luciferian extremists. Luis put the bottle in front of him, taking Andy out of his ruminations. Luis was a Greek god, judging by the midnight blue halo and the stars interposed in his uniform. Andy could tell he was a god of dreams. You look exhausted, Luis said. Water for a good day of sleep? Andy looked at the bottle, then at Luis, and then at the bottle again. Does it have anything in it? Water from the river Lethe. What else? Lethe. What else? Luis sarcastically replied. He softened his features. Look, I am gonna be straight with you. This is only for you to have a good night of sleep. That's all. You look terrible. Okay, sorry, I am just so freaking tired. Andy sighed as he took the water bottle. Besides a good night of sleep, what else would it do to me? Lucid dreaming or dream realm walking, the god replied. Although the latter is when you take too much. Isn't it dangerous to do that when you have nightmares? Andy asked as he took some of the water. When you are that lucid, you tend to kick the ass of your own fears inside your head. Luis calmly waved his hand. And you don't look like you have any mental problems. Do you? No, not really, Andy replied. Then you don't have any issue. With that hair and that attitude, Luis could easily be one of Hypnosis' many children. Although you will probably be confused if you wake up in a dream realm. Ah, okay, Andy said as he took more of the water and raised his hand for a handshake. Luis responded to the offer. After that, a placid silence passed between them as the conversation died down. Eventually, Andy came back to his limbo apartment, a bit more sleepy than usual. It was late at night, and he looked at the bottle of dream water with curiosity. Meh, why not? The fallen shrugged and drank more of the water and fell to his bed, asleep. Huh, so that's what happened, Andy said as he stared at the black screen on the memory window. Well, he did warn me. I've nothing better to do than wait, then. Andy scratched the back of his head as he stared behind at the realm that was his own mind, looking at the firmament full of shapes and buildings. Meh, why not walk to the sky then? I see no better way to kill time. Andy focused on one of the skyscrapers. It turned into mist as they changed into the form of a crystal road towards the clouds. Andy walked over the recently formed road, enjoying the vistas of the world within his mind. He strolled on a road of buildings that continuously constructed themselves below his own feet. It was oddly beautiful until he heard an alarm come from outside. Well, it's time to wake up, Andy smiled as the world of dreams faded. The waking world was waiting for him with open arms. Dun dun dun. I'm now even more tired than I was before. Oh,
I think I need a nap.
don't be sorry. Don't be sorry, Keller. We've all been like really like this would have been the perfect one to end the night on because it could have been like, okay, now we all go to Sleepy Town.
Yeah.
Because we've all been like burning the candles at both ends and the heat and just everything. So that it's like it just lulled into this relaxing. Yes. Right, Bitzer? There we go.
I mean, really great. Now I want a nap.
I want dream water that contains water from the river Lethe.
Yeah. I need to give that to the dog tonight so that I can get sleep.
I feel that.
Forget sleep. Well, if you forget that you didn't sleep, maybe you feel better.
Oh yeah. I understand that Luis was joking there, but like half the reason that I can't sleep is because of the constant memories running through my head. So if I take water and drink it from the river Lethe, that would help me forget those things long enough to sleep and not have those thoughts racing. That would be beautiful.
Brain
I'll
gremlin.
worry about whether or not I wake up with those memories returned to me or not, and whether or not that changes my personality later. That is future Izzy problem, not exhausted, I need sleep Izzy problem.
That's how Cash feels right now.
Right? Okay, doke, artichoke. Need that. I need that. I need that. Okay. Do 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 do. Next victim. Isu. The very first note says that this character has a purring, smoky voice. Cash?
Yeah. Robert?
Are
Yeah.
all of these going to be designed to put us to sleep tonight?
I just know the way that she's like damn near made love to my microphone when she's been over here. That smoky purring voice. I did.
Okay. A dream about playfully tussling with Volzek upon a giant bear's oily fur came to an abrupt halt when Ari felt one of the bear's claws dig into his back. He awoke with a start and scrabbled till he found the thing that was digging into his hip. One of the pelts he'd been sleeping on still had a thumb claw attached. With an irritated scoff, he buried it beneath the other 3 or 4 skins. Danger averted, Ari began to look around and remember where he was and how he'd gotten here. He looked down again at the bed, a wooden frame full to the brim of animal pelt. What had seemed primal and luxurious the night before now seemed rustic, even brutish, if not slightly macabre. He must have emptied a forest to find so many bears and foxes. Moreover, Ari badly needed somebody to hop his back. The mouthless cavern of black and orange marble that had previously seemed dreamlike and alluring was now a hermetically sealed prison, uncannily illuminated by no discernible light source. The ceiling, made of the same polished material, was vaulted in a way that made it hard to judge the cavern's height. You must have been mad to come here. That's what you're thinking. The smoky purr tightened already sore muscles. He spread, red and prickly, up Ari's naked skin. Atreus was sprawled on his back, lean chest exposed, his red eyes inscrutable. Ari looked away. I was just wondering how you get fresh air in here. Atreus glanced upward. There's an air cycling spell around somewhere. Pretty old by now, though. Wouldn't say stay past a day or two. Oh, Ari hugged his legs tighter. He couldn't tell how much time had passed. At least 6 hours for sure. Maybe 12. Volzek would be a thick, segmented tail sprang out from the sea of pelt and grabbed Ari around the waist, making him yell. What you sitting over there for? Come here. Whether he would or no, Ari found himself dragged through the pelt pile and to rest under Atreus's arm. Good boy, keep me warm. Ari's stomach squirmed. Shouldn't we be heading back? Somewhere you gotta be? Ari wasn't sure how to answer that. The simple answer was yes. But if he said that, Atreus was sure to ask what those plans were, and Ari would have to lie to keep the plot concealed. He didn't think he could carry it off. Atreus's tail slid up around the witch's shoulders and rolled him over so they lay chest to chest. The demon's hand was on him, caressing his face, drenching him in human confusion. What's the matter, baby bird? Why all curled up? Ari felt the guilt surge up within him, and was secretly disappointed that it failed to drown his arousal. He supposed that must be the effects of the addiction setting in. I'm just overthinking things, I guess. Atreus grinned, sharp teeth gleaming in the dim light. I can help with that. Again the impulse to refuse flashed through him. He even held the brief, crazy idea of confessing everything, but it was easier to obey his animal flesh and accept the demon's thing. I have to do this, Ari reminded himself. This man is a murderer. He has to die. His victims and their families deserve justice. Yet he couldn't keep himself from wondering if, after all these centuries, there was still anyone left to hold out hope for justice. Against his will, memories of the day prior came flooding back. He remembered walking through Haypenny, the most dangerous district in Chance, how safe he'd felt with the demon's dragon tail wrapped around him. What few people they'd seen had saluted Atreus with respect, even fondness. Atreus's fingertips trailed goosebumps down Ari's back. Get under here, you're making me cold. The furs seemed to move of their own volition, embracing the two men in velvety warmth. Atreus was a slaver. He held more than 100 nymphs, satyrs, and humans in thrall. He deserved, but none of the workers at Atreus's brothel were thrall. Atreus didn't even get a cut beyond what he charged to rent a room for business, and they'd all been happy. They played, joked, and even cut playful jabs at Atreus' expense. Several had even shared their dinner with Ari and teased him about getting special attention from the proprietor himself. It's too late to back out now. Spald is waiting to avenge his kidnapped brother. Except Kara, one of the workers, had shared Spald's surname. And when he asked Kara about it, her smile turned stiff and she said, "Well, as it happens, I do have a brother named Spald. Last I checked, though, he didn't have a sister, so it's probably not worth mentioning to him." Was there more to the story than Spald had told him? Ari felt Atreus' tongue poise itself in a way he recognized. Mentally, he liked it to a snake preparing to strike, and hastily curled his own tongue back before it could grow and choke him. The demon pulled back in mild surprise and then smiled gently. "Not feeling it now? Okay, darling." Ari shuddered. The Atreus Volvic described had been a rapist who took what he wanted. He'd said, but Atreus was never the type to let his whims be denied. People were toys to him, and they were all replaceable. So who was this man who backed down so easily? Who took Ari's wordless no for an answer and was petting his hair as if nothing was wrong? Then it occurred to Ari that that was the first time that he had inhibited the incubus. He'd been too focused on leading Atreus into a false sense of security. He'd done everything asked of him, things he'd have been too scared to even consider doing on his own. And all the while he told himself, at least this is the last time he'll put anyone through this. What if Ari was making a mistake? What if Atreus had changed? How much could a person change in 500 years? He thought of how much he himself had changed in the 200 since Wolzek came to his life and felt sick. "Someone on your mind, baby bird?" Ari blinked. Atreus was peering at him with something like concern, still petting him with a cupped palm. I. The witch opened his mouth. He wanted to ask Atreus about his past. He wanted to ask what had happened after Wolfek left him. He wanted to ask when Atreus had left Hessel and how he'd found his way to Chance. He wanted to ask what happened to his thralls. He wanted to ask whether he'd really kidnapped Kara and why she didn't want her brother finding her. He wanted to ask why he'd originally adopted Volzek and why Volzek left him from Atreus's perspective. He wanted to ask what this cavern actually was, and when had it been built, and how it had been built, and where all the animal skins had come from. He wanted to ask whether Atreus's seed truly enthralled those who ingested it, and how long it would take him to go mad from withdrawal. He wanted to ask how a demon clever enough to evade burned spurned demigods and the Order of Paladins, and numerous assassins for the better part of 700 years who trust him so easily. He wanted to ask why the demon kept referring to him as baby bird. He wanted to ask if there was any way Atreus could ever forgive him. What he finally said was, "I think it's time we went home." Atreus's eyes shone like the sun through red maple leaves as he smiled at Ari, slid his thumb across the boy's lower lip, and pressed a tender kiss there. "Sure thing, baby bird." Dun dun dun. I think there's a few more questions that needed to be asked, and we needed answers. My biggest question Who's echoing? Because I keep hearing myself. Anyways, my biggest question is, who's that sister? Who is she? There's something about her.
I actually was kind of wondering, yeah, I do have a brother, but last I checked, he doesn't have a sister. Bish, you the sister. So I was wondering in that moment, was it supposed to be, but my brother doesn't have a brother? And it just got missed? Or is that an intentional thing?
I find a brother but found a sister who had a brother with the same name. Is that me echoing?
Yeah.
I got a hair in my eye.
My apologies. Whatever is going on with yours, it was so muffled that I could not discern separate words in the beginning.
Oh,
So I had to put you on the actual speaker, and it's entirely possible that this mic is picking up your voice from the speaker.
gotcha. Okay. Did it clear up, or do you need me to try and fix some things on
No,
my
we're
end?
good. We're good now. You're not reverbing. But what the actual fuck? Like again, is is it Izzy's thing where they just missed one, or is it there's
Right, like, was it supposed to be brother, but they wrote sister, or they originally thought sister? I don't know. The number of times that I've written the
or is
wrong
there
name,
something, or is this a fucking Easter egg? Because
right?
let's face it, our peeps like to throw that shit in.
My first thought was the brother and the sister were the same person. Exactly, Doc. That was my thought.
Right, but then wouldn't Kara, presenting as a female, say, "Oh, I have a brother named Spald," but last I knew, he didn't have a sister.
That's
Y-
exactly
y-
what she said.
exactly.
Or is this
So, but if
or is it
she's the
like
sister,
me and you? Like me, you, and like the rest of the group. I call you my sister. We call Patrick our brother.
right?
We're not actually all blood family. We're chosen family. Is that the case? Like I turn around and go with, well, I know Patrick's got one brother, but I don't think he's got a sister. We all know Patrick has a sister. But it's like,
Right. But that's
is it like
also
that? Like,
revealing more.
I'm
But
confused.
exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like if there's something about, because Ari says Spald is trying to avenge his kidnapped brother. Okay, now we got Kara saying, "I have a brother named Spald, but I don't know that he has a sister." But if that's a slip of the tongue, that's revealing a lot in that one comment, unless it's actually something that's supposed to be attributed to Ari. Like Ari says, I don't think the Spalda I'm talking about has a sister." And maybe that
Right.
didn't come across.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It
But I'm
was
I
hoping
don't
we give
know.
enough feedback that
Right. But that's just something right there that was in the writing confusing. Lost train of thought, whatnot. These are all rough drafts.
yeah.
But overall, to be putting yourself in that situation, doing whatever the quote unquote murder and rapist is wanting you to do. Again, this is a story, people. This is not real. This is fantasy for those out there in the future watching this on VOD. Um, to suddenly start double guessing yourself and wondering, if this Atreus guy has actually changed in the last 500 years, and there's a lot of, okay, Ari's wondering what about Volzek's, everything that Volzek told me, has that changed? Why, this is this is Volzek's adopted father. And now what you went there, put yourself in a compromising position because you were going to unalive the guy? And now you're double guessing? Like,
Like, I'm so confused.
I need more.
No, we definitely need more. That
We
will help
need
with my
more.
clarification.
Yeah. Yeah. Ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha mo ha 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 ha. That, yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Mio Mio Nehemiah. Gib?
It did.
That's an acronym. I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, give.
Gib. Okay, got it. Got it. Sorry, it was only a couple of months ago that I learned TIL means today I learned. And it was only last year that I learned that TLDR is too long, didn't read. So, like,
Okay, I
I
learned
don't.
something new today.
Huh?
I said old dogs can learn new tricks. It just sometimes takes them a little.
Absolutely. But if I don't see it and I don't have people that can give me the context, like I see it and I'm like, okay. I mean, there is a reason I'm a Google queen. I got it. Like, I see something and go, I don't understand. And if I care, I'll go, Google, what does this mean?
No, this is not the Puschetti versus spaghetti fucking.
No, it's basically going, you take this word and you say it differently, but it still means the same thing. It's so, like, everybody else says spaghetti. I say sketty.
I just say sketty.
My child, when growing up, called it Puschetti.
Mm-hmm.
And
And then
like,
it just becomes what it's called.
yeah, the remote is the gumote because he couldn't say his R's for the longest time.
Oh.
It was so cute. I kind of miss that. Ed M. Oh, Ed M's. Okay. Aw, that's cute. I used to call Reese's alien bait. Reese's CC's, the little candies.
Now I want Reese's cups.
I was talking about the little M&M ones.
No, I know, but you said Reese's, and my brain instantly took that.
Reese's cups. I mean, you have children, send one of them out.
No, one is in the process of finishing up the rainbow on my porch railing.
Ah, got you.
All right. Next. Who is next? Jeffrey! Okay. Wicked Witch of the upper left corner.
I think he meant Izzy, Julie.
I'm in the upper left corner. You're the upper right corner.
I flipped them off on your behalf.
But like Doc said, that cackle proved it.
It
Trying
did.
to help. Fuck this shit. I'm trying to.
I love it.
Okay, so this was apparently written with Styx in mind to read it. However, Styx is otherwise occupied with family. So, now let's go one step further and says it's a test for lit RPG. And I notoriously don't care for lit RPG as a genre in general. So we're just throwing all of the challenges at Izzy tonight. And I'm going to do the best I can, Jeffrey.
Believe
Okay.
it. And that face. Okay, now I gotta go and look, see what Gossa's speech was.
How many characters? Like, you're trying to rival me with the number of characters and entities that can be in a single fucking scene? Because right now the record's 17.
That was really hard to follow, too. But you did it.
No, I get it. Mine didn't either. Because remember, we're restricted to the 2,500. And this was even before we were restricted. Some of them didn't have any lines at all. Okay, we're gonna. Okay, we're gonna do what we can. All right. Not that I'm going to remember who is who. Anyway, from the cliffside, he could see the smoke rising in the distance. The war against the demon lord raged on in the north. There were no shortages of A and S rank adventurer parties, not to mention the S rank hero class spearheading the charge. Compared to them, Steve, a D rank adventurer with no combat capabilities, stood no chance. Gifted with the class runner, he excelled in stamina and dexterity because his abilities relied on them. Anyone with a class could improve their strength, constitution, dexterity, stamina, intelligence, and charisma, but the system only used the top 4 to evaluate the overall rank. Without skills and an aptitude for specific attributes, it became difficult to increase them. Steve willed his character sheet to appear in front of him and read, Name, Steve. Age, 26. Strength, E rank, 19 points. Constitution, E rank, 14 points. Stamina, A rank, 156 points. Dexterity, B rank, 82 points. Intelligence, E rank, 10 points. Charisma, E rank, 5 points. Overall rank, D. Class, runner. Class ability, item box. Class skills, endurance, passive. Can run for longer periods of time without rest. Perception, passive. Has a higher chance of noticing details. Second wind, active. Can surge with a burst of speed. Cooldown 1 hour. Eagle eye, active. Can see up to 2.5 times farther for up to 1 minute. Cooldown 15 minutes. General skills, hide, active. Can turn invisible for up to 5 minutes. Cooldown once a day. Search, active. Helps locate objects or people. Limited by rank and knowledge. Analyze, active. Can observe another person or creature's ability sheet. Limited by rank. Pondering his stats, Steve, through his nasally voice, said, "If I can get my dexterity up to 100 attribute points, it will upgrade to A rank and put me on the threshold of an overall C rank adventurer. So how am I going to earn another 18 points?" Dismissing the display, Steve turned back toward the town Thorkspire, used his index finger to push up his glasses, and said, "I should head back to the Adventurers Guild. I still need to report my latest completed quest and pick up a new one." Activating Second Wind, Steve rapidly sped up, running back toward town, avoiding a rodent running across his path thanks to his passive perception, getting him one step closer to reaching C rank. Thorkspire, the last human town left in the north thanks to the war, drew in many adventurers, both those with good and ill intent. There are many reasons for becoming an adventurer. The top guilds in the country have a strong presence as well, thanks to the royal decree that conscripted them into service. A lucrative deal for the guilds if their members can survive the ordeal. You can run a war without runners. In the background, there's always work to be found if you know where to find it, and Steve pushed up his glasses as he paused for dramatic effect to no one. "And the best runner in town." Joining the steady stream of people entering Thorkspire, Steve noticed 3 brawny men walking in front of him. A man wearing a shield on his back with a sword attached to his hip said, "Yo, Brock, check out the chick with the hot bod." Brock adjusted his 2-handed battle axe from one shoulder to the other and said, "Chill, bro, I am. Wouldn't mind getting injured if it meant she would be healing me." The third guy in the group, wearing a simple cloth and no visible weapons, said, "That's enough. Don't we have a meeting with that guild rep, Chaz? Now, that is a fine piece." Chaz grinned and said, "You're right, Declan. Let's get moving." Activating Analyze, Steve brought up the 3 adventurers' information sheets and grinned. Name, Brock. Class, Barbarian. Rank, B. Name, Chaz. Class, Paladin. Rank, B. Name, Declan. Class, Monk. Rank, B. 3 competent frontline fighters who oozed manliness. The exact kind that Steve detested. They could take on average B rank quests, but that was about it. From how they talked, they probably spent most of their time trying to get under a woman's skirt by convincing them how manly they were. Steve couldn't help looking at the woman they were ogling and recoiled. More bad memories flooded his mind. Whereas those kinds of men were more likely to toss him inside a trash can, the woman leaning against the wall, busy filing their nails and staring at anyone who got too close as if they were murdering them with their eyes, were so much worse. OMG, did you see them looking at me, Tiffany? Like, no thank you. You couldn't pay me enough to touch them with a healing spell. Name, Brooke. Class, Cleric. Rank A. Using a wind spell, the woman next to the cleric said, I can't believe they asked us to take on a bug removal quest. A bug? So beneath us. Name, Tiffany. Class, sorcerer. Rank A. Cheer up, gals. All I gotta do is wiggle my hips and flutter my eyelashes, and soon enough, we have a poor sod who does it for us. Name, Jessica. Class, bard. Rank A. Sure, they are attractive at first glance, but their attitude is disgusting. How they ever survived long enough to reach A rank is beyond Steve's comprehension. Thankfully for him, he is the kind of loner who avoids their attention, and they gladly oblige. I don't need another bard singing about the man who ran into a wall running from the disgraced fighter, too drunk to notice the nose on his face. Shaking his head to forget that particular memory, Steve continued toward the Adventurers Guild. He pushed open the door and absorbed the various conversations among the different parties and receptionists. The anti-derivative of the ghost's fighting capabilities was within the bounded function. Steve tried to comprehend what the man with the pointy hat on his head said when the other man next to him said, the derivative of my attacks reached the critical point, which correlates with Cavalari's principle. I prefer the Euler method, said the woman standing next to them. I seek the harmonic progression to reach the absolute maximum killing method. Unable to resist, Steve checked out their information. Name, Fibonacci. Class, wizard. Rank, C. Name, Hawking. Class, artificer. Rank, C. Name, Curie. Class, Magus. Rank, B. A party of intelligence-focused classes, go figure. Too smart for his liking. People often mistook him for one of them because of his glasses and speech. But Steve is good for one thing. Running. Too dumb to be smart, yet too weak to be strong. An outcast who only runs away from his problems. Literally. After reaching the front desk, Steve nodded to the receptionist and said, Hello, Lucy. I'm back to report the delivery for the Vanderbilt Guild is complete. Lucy presented him with her trademark smile and said, Thank you, Steve. Do you have the receipt? Reaching into his item box, Steve pulled out the piece of paper with a wax seal, stamped over the signature line, and handed it to Lucy. He glanced at the quest board nearby and asked, Any new deliveries come up while I was gone? Not looking up from her work, Lucy said, A couple, nothing out of the ordinary. You can... A man burst through the door, dressed in royal attire, a messenger of some kind, and ran up to the quest board. After pinning a royal quest on the board, he turned around and said, By royal decree, the hero needs an urgent package delivered to the front lines immediately. With no further fanfare, the man left. Steve looked at Lucy the moment she looked back at him, and she raised an eyebrow. I know what you're thinking, Lucy. I am a runner. This is what I do. But that is for the hero on the front lines, a place designated for ranks A and S only. Grinning, she said, Good. So you will let someone who won't die in one hit take it? Steve pushed up his glasses and said, We shall see, and walked out. What he knew and hoped she had forgotten was the A-rank party he had helped and who owed him a favor. They were great people if you didn't let their appearance dissuade you or get on their bad side and become a walking corpse for their undead army. Walking up to the party, he reminded himself who they were. Name, Lilith. Class, necromancer. Rank, S. Name, Scarlet. Class, assassin. Rank A. Name, Orpheus. Class, warlock. Rank A. Right, a necromancer, an assassin, and a warlock. Lilith smiled when Steve approached. Her dark makeup highlighted her deep red irises. Changed your mind and want to become my undead minion, Steve? I am sure Scarlet can assist. He shook his head and said, Not yet, Lilith. I want to cash in that favor for helping deliver that heart for you. Scarlet licked the edge of her dagger and smirked at Steve's discomfort and said, What could our D rank friend need with an A rank party such as ourselves? Cutting to the chase, Steve said, The hero needs a package, and I want to do it. Shaking his head, Orpheus said, That's the front lines. Do you have a death wish? Forcing confidence he didn't have, he said, No, what I have is an 18-point gap in dexterity that is keeping me from becoming C rank, and dodging death on the front lines is the quickest way to achieve it. Lilith walked up and used a finger to lift Steve's face so she could look him in the eye and said, You want us to register the quest and let you deliver the package. What happens if you fail and die? Shrugging, he said, You get my corpse and finish the quest? Lilith looked over at Scarlet, and the two of them grinned. The necromancer kissed him on the forehead, leaving a trace of black lipstick, and said, I will be right back. You stay here. True to her word, Lilith returned with the quest, and together the four of them walked to the city guard's headquarters where the royal messenger waited. The man handed Lilith the package, who then handed it and the quest authorization paper to Steve after they rejoined him outside. After placing both in his item box, he said, Thank you, Lilith. Waving his compliment away, she said, If you die, try to do so without losing any limbs. It's easier to control your corpse that way. Steve did what every runner was good at. He ran. Heading north toward the demon army, he observed a few adventurer parties scattered throughout, hunting monsters or gathering high-tier ingredients. The higher concentration of magical energy in the area made it difficult for plants to grow, but it also allowed the wildlife to mutate. The terrain shifted into a more arid environment, lined with cracks and clouds of dust picked up from the wind and other travelers passing by. After 3 hours of constant running, a feat he could do without rest thanks to his stamina, Steve reached the war camp. An A-rank sentry stepped in front of him and, with a frown, questioned, What is a D-rank runner doing here? Do you not know that this area is off limits for people like you? Holding up a finger, Steve used his other hand to reach into his item box and pull out the quest authorization paper and presented it to the sentry. I don't know how you got this, but already running, using his skill for a surge, all they could do was watch. Avoiding people who looked important, Steve wove his way around all the tents and quickly built structures until the camp was behind him. He was truly on the front lines of the war against the demon lord and his army. The smoke he could see in the distance earlier that day was visible in front of him. His sheet showed that his dexterity had risen from 82 to 83 points. 17 to go. Noticing a rock formation jutting out of the ground, Steve climbed to the top, activating search to locate the hero and Eagle Eye to stay far away. The magical glowing dust around an individual deep in combat, surrounded by his party and demons, lit up in his field of view. Attempting his version of a hero pose, Steve said, Fear not, brave hero. The best runner in all Thorkspire is here to save the day. I hate myself so much right now. He reached the bottom quickly and ran toward the fighting. He thought about using hide, but he might need it to escape after delivering the package. Relying on his passive perception, Steve dodged claws, teeth, fireballs, and thrown rocks. The adventurers, too engrossed in their own fight for survival, did not notice a lowly D-rank runner. Second wind still on cooldown, Steve had to rely on his stamina and quick reflexes to dodge and run toward the hero, his best chance of surviving. His only chance. Stumbling to the ground when a giant demon stepped in front of him, Steve hurled himself to the side, avoiding the strike. Cornered between the two demons, he heard a ding. Dexterity rank A upgrade, followed by active skill dodge unlocked. Making use of it immediately, Steve felt his body move on its own, avoiding the demon's attack. He felt his stamina drain each time he activated the ability, but that was his highest stat, so he could survive. Nearly running into the hero, Steve dodged a horizontal blade slash that cut the flying demon in half. A mage nearby brought down a lightning strike on top of the giant demon's head, killing it. "Barrier now!" yelled the hero. Free to talk, surrounded by demons outside the protective spell, the hero said, "You must be mad coming here like this. Why is a C-rank runner on the front lines? Do you have a death wish?" He laughed in relief, hearing his overall rank had gone up. Steve pulled out the package and the quest authorization paper and said, "Delivery, please sign." While the hero stared dumbfounded, the rest of his party chuckled until he signed the paper and opened it. The hero raised a gem in the air and cheered. "I finally have it!" Fitting the gem into the base of his blade, he turned to Steve and said, "You need to hide," then nodded for the mage to lower the barrier. Steve activated hide, giving himself 5 minutes invisibility. Walking out in front of his party, the hero commanded his blade to light up in flames, and in a single strike, took out every demon standing between him and the general watching nearby. Soon, the two clashed, shaking the ground from the power of the blows. Steve, captivated by the fight, let himself become visible once more. "Well, I'm fucked." Dun dun dun.
That's where you leave it?
Out of everything! Out of every fucking thing you could have done! Out of every goddamn thing you could have done! You left Steve there! You could have at least got his little gooky ass off the field! What the fuck?!
I love how it's like, well, I'm fucked, and that's the end. Like,
Well, I'm
that's,
fucked. Yes, I know you're fucked!
yes, 5 out of 5. Izzy did fantastic reading that.
She did! Congratulations, Izzy. Very good, very good. What the fuck?!
We're gonna make her, like, hyperventilate or something.
I haven't reached hyena laugh, so we're good. Um, look.
Yes, it's expand worthy. I need to know what the fuck happened to Steve. Sorry, Izzy. My bad. I got here. Let me push the mic back. There we go. How's that? Is that better?
I mean, don't get me wrong. We have a friend who is real big into lit RPG, and I purposely will not read Dungeon Crawler Carl because he just kept telling me that I had to read it. And I don't like being told what to do. So, I just kind of, and plus it's not really my jam, right? It's not really my jam. However, Mr. Jeffrey, as much as I absolutely hated diving into those stereotypical voices, I hate myself so much for those. I apologize to the world.
You did well, though. You really, girl.
I don't know what a goth is supposed to sound like, but I kind of like tapped into the Hex Girls. If anybody remembers the Hex Girls from Scooby Doo,
I mean, I get that.
that just seemed to be, yeah, no, definitely. I, and like I've already gotten really good practice at the annoying fucking cheerleader thing, thanks to Patrick. And so, yeah. So, just all that to say, this kind of took me back to Captain Nintendo.
Oh my goodness. That's callback.
Look, I'm a nerd.
So am I.
I have, well, yeah, but you said taking me back, and I'm like, look, I'm a nerd. People don't think of me as a nerd.
I don't know why.
I know. I really don't. I don't understand why people don't see me and the way I am and don't think nerd.
Probably because of that redneck aura you have.
I do have a redneck aura, and there is the fact that people seem to think that redneck and nerd are mutually exclusive. They are not. They are not. Julie and I are examples of how they are not.
Right. But you know what else is not also mutually exclusive? Redneck and goth. Because I am
facts.
the redneck goth.
This is facts. Now I'm more redneck, less goth. No. But the funny thing is when I'm wearing a cowboy hat and cowboy boots and a button up flannel walking into a Starbucks with my gothed out from head to toe, all the dark makeup, bats, and everything else, and we're giggling like a couple of schoolgirls. Fucks people up every fucking time, and I love it.
Yes, I do with you.
Yeah, Stray Cats or K-pop. But that's just weird white woman shit.
Oh, there goes the firework.
Yep, there goes the fireworks. I'm just so surprised that I'm able to do Valley Girl / cheerleader so well. Because I never.
He's girly.
It was Patrick. It's all Patrick. It's all
And
Patrick's fault.
Patrick. It's all Patrick's fault. It so is. So yes, Jeffrey, although I swore off lit RPG, if you want to keep writing the adventures of Steve,
please.
I will continue reading it out loud. Maybe at some point, Styx and I can tackle it together. That would be fun. Just saying.
That's
especially if it's mind blown idea. Yes, I'm kind of volunteering him and you for something. But mind blown, a filler Friday with something that Jeffrey's written up with the lit RPG, color coding it like we were talking about, Styx and I reading it out on a filler night with the different voices and this, that, who is what. Oh, we'll talk. We'll workshop it. Okay, we'll talk.
I like that.
Oh, right. Because of the different voices and the computer bit and the this that could work. That could fucking work. Sorry. Okay. Oh, but you have time because filler Fridays for Booked for Friday is a long-term throwing things together, lots of prep for an individual show. So
this week's was not this week's was a scheduling conflict for a lot of us.
right.
So
and filler content was a recent thought process, so we haven't put a lot of time into developing it, but we will obviously get there. And long term, I have a feeling, Jeffrey, you ain't leaving us anytime soon. So, and I know we ain't quitting the show anytime soon. So,
Yes, but also don't make me have to try to find you and hog tie you. Like we'll break out the duct tape.
Well, literally, like Styx said last night, we have now taken up so much of his time and we licked him and we kept him. He's ours. He's not going anywhere either. Yeah, see, there we go. Love it. Okay, next. Or we have been live for just over an hour and a half. We did start at 18 after, so it's just a little bit over, an hour and 15 minutes. Shall we take a quick restroom, drink refill your nicotine banks?
Get up, move around, check posture.
Yeah. I mean, just because I'm standing here at a standing desk, and able to do the boogie woogie because of my ADHD, doesn't mean everybody has that opportunity. So let's go ahead and take a real quick break. We're going to throw up the be right back screen. That does mean that hosts' mics will be muted, but the chat will still be going on screen. Okay? Yes. Everyone, decorrugate your butts. That's great. That's great. Okay, we will be back and find out who our next victim is. Where's the button? There. Oh my God. Hello. We are back.
Hello, everybody.
With,
We are
and
back.
we have a fourth
Back again.
co-host tonight. Pupper was just a little. Aww.
Look at her face.
Shaking so bad. Baby shaking so bad.
All right, let's get to it. I made a clip of my Wicked Witch comment. No, not still sleepy. All right, next up. CM Weller. A Devil's Tale. Oh, voice note if you want to do voices, Kosh has a gravelly voice and a German accent.
I don't know about the gravelly. Oh my goodness. I don't know about the gravelly part, but I could probably do the German accent. Oh, I'm probably gonna have to take him back upstairs real quick.
Is he going to be okay upstairs? Is anybody else home?
Yeah, Mom's up there.
Oh. Okay.
Mom and the other pups. He's Eric because they're loud right now.
They really are loud. Will and I were discussing the rainbow railing on my front porch, and we had to yell to hear each other.
I'm sure. It's the night.
Yep.
Do you want to hear me read? Oh, I'm shaking so bad. Poor baby. Oh, you went blurry, Izzy.
Yay.
Okay.
God, I kind of miss that long hair. That hair was sexy.
For such a small stone, the icon of the dash weighed heavily inside a fold of Kosh's V. As he raced across the rooftop of Arbordeep, he had to wonder how much of the stretched truth he had told Zeline was something he covertly believed. It was so easy to believe the artifact was cursed. Those who sought it had killed so many of those who held it, as well as unencumbered innocent bystanders who held the bad luck of being too close to those who held it. Now he held it. Kosh had already had assassins on his tail. His true self, Viscount Cormland, Artis Felborn Whitekeith, the ninth, survived one assassination attempt. The adventurer Kosh only had regular, everyday speciesism to cope with. There were plenty of people who could cheerfully murder a Hellkin and feel justified with the icon of the Das next to his heart. He worried that someone might be tracking it. The only way he could safely handle the verdiment thing across to Lord Yatham, where it belonged, and the story there. The only way he could be safe was handing the verdant thing across to Lord Yatham, where it belonged. He kept the Palace of Lords as his goal as he raced across the rogues' highway of Arbordeep rooftops. If he was fast enough, perhaps the curse would not reach him. Or, since he was already part of the curse, it might cancel out. Maybe he did believe in him, everything he was told by Zeline. The streets and courtyard surrounding the half-sunken building were full of elaborate coaches and magical orbs of light. It was Spark Night, the summer celebration of peace and harmony that was an excuse for all invited to show off their wealth to all the others of their class. There was no way they'd let an adventurer in while that was going on. They certainly would not let in a Teufel like him, adventurer not. He leapt down into an old remnant of city wall that had since become part of a bank. He rolled and raced onwards, searching for an open window or balcony where he might be able to make his own entrance. One small issue with them. The boulevards were purposely too wide for anyone to cover in one bound, deliberately too far for most magic to cross, and there were always guards below wearing oculi that would cause any spellwork to stand out like a dog's bowl. All of them armed with two-shot bows and bolts. Kosh paused on a remnant of an aqueduct, now part of a block of apartments. It was pointed the right way, and there was a balcony, tantalizing right in the path. Vogel caught up with him. The bird-like man lit on the stonework and looked as winded as Kosh felt. "You're really fast, you know that?" "And motivated," Kosh panted in reply. If he caught his breath, he might be able to leap and slow his fall, drifting like a mote of soot across the intervening space, and land on one of the well-lit architectural features, right where the surrounding guard could pick him off. "I have to get this bloody trinket to the rightful hand before fate wakens up that I'm holding it." Vogel ruffled and smothered his feathers. "You really believed all that? I thought you were spinning pure horseshit." Kosh aimed a low glare at him. "I swore an oath to tell no untruth. I am not an oath-breaking Teufel." Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. Sorry." He held up hands that looked like the talons of his feet. Vogel preempted the next argument with, "I could fly you over, but I can't lift off with you. You'll have to run and jump." "Run, jump, and trust." "I am not a very trusting Teufel," he said. "I know." Vogel summoned some of his druidic magic between his claws, creating two berries on a small twig. "These can help restore your energy. Pick one for me to eat and have the other." Kosh watched the avid druid's eyes as his blue fingers hovered near one berry, then the other. No sign of eagerness, no fear, and he knew that Vogel's fear looked like, or what Vogel's fear looked like. He'd seen it every time they had to pass each other in the hallway. Kosh put the berry into Vogel's beak at the same time he put the other in his mouth, waited for the fellow to swallow. He felt compelled to add, "I know 3 ways I could have poisoned that." Vogel's beak conspired to convey a smirk. "But you're not a traitorous Teufel." "Well, where do you need to fly?" Kosh pointed out the balcony. "That one." "Count 5 seconds and start running," said Vogel. "I will get you there." He spread his wings and launched. He would be using thermal updrafts from the city chimneys to gain height, and then his natural talents to gain speed. Kosh backed up as far as he could. 3,000, 4,000, 5. He launched into the steppe of Naruto, the fastest method of running. His shadows pushed each of his feet. One special breath, one extra push to launch him further than any untrained adult might leap. Gekommen, see Vogel, be there. It was an immense and personal struggle to spread his arms wide. He needed his oh, that was German. He needed his elbows to close his body and slow his fall. He needed to brace for the impact of another's touch. He reached the apogee of his sleeve, started to drop, and the talons of an avid's arms wrapped around his torso, and then two of them began to rise as to the beat of Vogel's wings. Do that thing where you float, grunted Vogel. Might make this easier. Kosh could ignore the sting jangle of an unfamiliar touch. At least he could ignore it enough to concentrate on the stance of thistleseed. They climbed faster, heading ever closer to their goal. If Vogel dropped him now, it would not do him it would do him no good. Kosh did not relax even as his sandal met resistance on the small stone balcony he'd selected. He was not in the habit of relaxing at the best of times. Hell, he couldn't even sleep. He remained on guard even as Vogel saluted in lieu of taking his leave. He waited for the knot of pain from Vogel's grip to wear off before trying the balcony door. The biggest problem with never knowing a kind touch was interpreting every contact as hostile. On the positive side, the pause allowed him to catch his breath. On the minus side, it made him feel more like a target. Standing on a balcony he didn't belong on. Part of the palace he definitely didn't belong in. And right where a sharp-eyed palace guard could take aim. Who needed assassins on their ass when he could just die from being an adventurer in a hurry? Or a hellpin where such people were so very deeply. And to top it all off, he was the current bearer of a small trinket that everyone in Arbordeep was literally willing to kill for. The sooner he got it into the lordship's hands, the better. Ja, get on with it, Hunga. Kosh had stopped shaking, or at least stopped shaking badly. He had enough dexterity to pick a simple latch. After listening with bated breath in case someone had decided to sneak away from the party below for some intimate negotiation. All silent inside. Better. Neither latch nor hinge squeaked to herald his invasion. The grays of dark sight battled with color given by the light from the balcony, which meant he would have an extreme difficulty seeing anything stationary. Kosh squinted and shifted his weight just so he could gain a shape of the room. It looked stupid, but there was nobody to see it. Simple servants' quarters, plain, serviceable, and empty. Thank the deaf and idle gods. Servants didn't get things like a balcony or a closet washroom unless they were the servant to someone important. Especially not a closet washroom with an enchanted privy. Of all the balconies to choose, he had to pick the one adjoining one of the high muckety-mucks of the city, with only one other exit. Kosh listened at the door, trying to hear over his own heartbeat for signs of life, or temporary occupation. Silence there, and nothing more. Good. He eased the door open, sliding through and removing all trace that he had been there, just like he had done for the balcony door. The whole room was dark enough for him to see. Not the greatest news because he had picked the highest of muckety-muck suites to blunder into. Kosh could easily recognize the pretentious hunting trophies of Arbordeep's former lord Vansarga, and the overlying deceptive simplicity of the new Lord Yetam. Some trophies lay on the drawing room table, on their way to being moved out of the official chambers. One more door between himself and the potential sudden death. Helkin weren't welcome anywhere at the best of times, A Helkan adventurer in the palace during Spark Night was likely to get stabbed first and interrogated later. Kosh crept out with a cat-like tread into a vacant hall, and the distant sound of the world's nobility enjoying Apharel's most important party. If the Lord Yeltham was anywhere, she was down with the fancy throng. There should have been guards all over the Verdant place, but there were none in this hallway. None for 5 hallways. Sloppy. Kosh was almost insulted by the lack of security. Finally, in the 6th hallway was one guard, leaning on the corner and nodding as if he were falling asleep. All right, now he could take this personally. Kosh crept up on the nodding guard, gently withdrew the man's sword, and then tapped the wrong shoulder. Krieger, anyone could just walk in here. He smiled wide, showing off his mouth full of pointy teeth to the man. Nothing woke a body up like coming face to face with a man who looked like a demon, horns and all. I have a most important delivery for Lord Yeltham. Urgent, Kosh insisted. My hands to hers. You can't be in here, said the guard. I clearly am. Go fetch your boss. Schnell. He fetched 2 superior officers, who took the poor guard's sword back and hustled Kosh into a waiting room, which was much better than being stabbed, if he had to be honest. Though they might be trying to kill him with boredom if the featureless decor was any indication. Only one door, a small array of wooden benches so old they might as well have been petrified, featureless eggshell white walls. He ended up practicing both his kata and some acrobatic moves across the benches when Lord Yeltham and her personal guard appeared. Of fucking course, she caught him doing single-handed press-ups on a corner of a bench with his feet and his tail in the air. You have to be insane coming here now, announced Lord Sylvia Yeltham, breaking and entering into a palace of lords. Well, it and I are hosting nobles from all over the world. And you're still filthy from your latest escapade. Kosh righted himself without his usual impulse to impress. I have to be crazy to go anywhere as I am. This was it. Was it do or die? Or do and die? Brought something important. Slowly, as not to disturb anyone, he withdrew the icon of Das from his V. Jolene cautioned you to spend his treasury wisely. Ah, she said, not touching the dreaded artifact. The Undercity. I swore I would see it into your hands, cautioned the and you're not an earth-breaking playful. Her lordship sighed with a roll of her eyes. I've already had to steal 7 rattling sabers, quell 3 fistfights, and adjudicate the restoration of the Zokalark Foundation. I swear to all the gods, they're worse than toddlers. Steadying breath. You may escort it through my security protocols whilst I monitor the situation downstairs. Then my people will summon me so you can fulfill your oath. It will not leave my possession until it enters yours, said Kosh. Of course it won't, Lord Yeltham sighed. If you'll pardon me, it's almost time for Lords Helcom and Veronis to start their annual argument regarding cheese. Kosh had to let it go, allowing an international fracas to start whilst hosting Spark Night had to be some mark against the Lord of Arcady. She was new to the role, and thus was very busy being waited weighed on other Ludo's mental scales. Hell, he was judging her fitness as a ruler, and he had yet to reach his homeland and claim his birthright, or at the very least, annoy the piss out of his father, the Earl of Valance. Kosh set his mind to paying close attention to the icon of the DOS whenever it wasn't in his hand, watching as various experts assess the troublesome things from records or with magical means. It was refreshing to watch someone work useful magic without taking 10 minutes and an assortment of auguries to do it. Oh gods, oh shit. He'd left the barbarian unsupervised. To his favor, the barbarian was in Arbordeep Street and allegedly under the supervision of Spigen and Sapphire, two of the most level-headed next to his own. If he couldn't keep him from wrecking hob with the city's watch assistant, then he would have to instigate other lessons. Finally, after 3 folios, 2 books, and 1 grumpy wizard's efforts, her lordship returned to take official custody of the icon of the DOS. Finally, it was no longer his problem. Kosh let himself be escorted out of the palace in a haze, not coming out of it until he found himself facing the whole of his crew, all 5 of them well behaved, whole, hale, and hearty, as well as safely outside the guard's perimeter around the palace and all the noble pomp and circumstance. Reckon he's shocked they didn't kill him, rumbled the tiny Lapis from his perch on the barbarian's shoulder. Kosh put his mask of a smile back on. Nein, I'm shocked none of you are arrested. Let's get back to Trollhead before any guards get any idea. Dun dun dun. There was a lot of big words in there, and it was hard to go back and forth. It was either read the whole thing with a German accent or I was looking at the parenthesis that they put in it, and I didn't see the words next to it. And then I was like, wait, that's German.
So I couldn't help but make a comment in the side chat when
Yeah.
the German speaker forgets what written German looks like.
Because they're focused. I was focused.
Focus.
Oh,
I mean, we keep getting told to focus.
Mm-hmm.
Our entire team, our mods, are constantly giving us grief because we devolve and don't stay focused. So,
What's going on here?
What do you mean, how many references? References to what? Be more specific.
There were a few things that sounded familiar, but I was focusing too hard on trying to get everything read and not like stutter.
Oh, various media. I didn't. I missed it. Like back when I did the 90s lyrics, like I was so focused on reading the story that I missed every single time y'all put lyrics in. I read that they came out of my mouth, but I was so focused on the story. Let's see. Jolene.
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 Dolly Parton. Right?
Jolene.
Jolene. Jolene. I'm begging you, just take him the fuck away. Sorry, what?
There's a reason that when Will moved in and we connected with stories and he had this green t-shirt that he'd had for a long time and it says, Jolene, you can have him. He handed it to me and goes, here, Mom, you'll like this. Y'all have seen me wear it.
Yes, I have.
Well done, Weller. Well done. All right, we have 5 left. Next victim!
You heard that?
Me!
You're okay, Dean. Okay.
I thought this scene was going to be longer, so not all of this was actually going to be tonight. However, as it is only 907 words, it's a good start. I seriously don't know what to make of this woman, Karen. She's a nobody and somebody all at the same time. Jiraiya rubbed his palm against the steering wheel. Why'd you let her get under your skin? Papers shuffled in the background. There's more to her. I know it. He checked his rear view, the image of Tony from Donna's phone still fresh. And why's Tony here? Tony? Who the fuck is Tony? The tones of her words escalated drastically. Jiraiya growled. My brother-in-law. You've got to be fucking kidding me. I wish I were. And he's hanging with Huntington. That can't be a coincidence, babe, she whispered. Of course not. I don't believe in coincidences. He paused. Babe, see what you can dig up on a Donna peacekeeper. Anywhere you can, but try to be quiet. She may not be the mayor of this town, but they all treat her like she's royalty. There's something more here. You're sure you're not reading too much into a small-town maven? The cafe cleared out when she approached me without any signal from her. People react to her like she has authority she doesn't have. Even people who had just arrived practically fled. Donna's brake lights flared ahead of him and the right turn signal blinked to life. I gotta go. She's turning off. Jiraiya hesitated. Babe, I got you. I'll see what I can find. You be careful. Karen ended their call as he carefully turned the rental sedan onto the gravel drive between a copse of trees. After miles of dirt lanes leading to ranches and farms, the crunch of stone beneath his tires felt deliberately different. Where other lanes looked neglected from lack of time, this drive carried a level of maintenance one might expect in a suburban neighborhood. About 100 feet into the trees, the ranch opened before him, a sprawling house sitting beyond the timber. Windows held perfect sightlines to the drive. The covered porch was open, allowing step-off or egress from anywhere along 2 sides of the house. Massive barns and several corrals stretched off to one side. The place felt less like a ranch than the center of its own little world. Donna climbed down before he'd even shut off the engine. He stepped into air that still carried the dampness of the last storm. Beneath it lingered the unmistakable scent of horses. He met her near the front of her truck. So this is headquarters? Jiraiya asked, glancing around. A faint smile tugged at her lips. Depends on who you ask. She turned toward the house. Some call it home. Before he could respond, the rumble of another engine drifted across the clearing. An older, white dually rolled toward them, slowing as it approached. The paint had seen better days, but the truck itself looked mechanically sound. The driver killed the engine. Nothing stood out about the man who climbed out first. His movements were measured, almost deliberate. A younger woman stepped out of the passenger side a moment later, moving with the grace of a ballet dancer, gothic makeup and clothing out of place in this rancher world. Donna gestured toward them. Jiraiya, these are Vadim and Dahlia. We call them the twins. Jiraiya nodded. You sent the pictures? Vadim inclined his head and extended a hand. Good to finally meet, he said, his accent thick enough that every word carried the weight of another language, maybe East Russian or Ukrainian. Jiraiya shook it. The grip was firm, but the expected calluses were absent. You followed Huntington? He asked. Vadim nodded once. A small smile reached his eyes as he held Jiraiya's gaze calmly, almost as if they were meeting at a backyard barbecue. Da, if that is his name. I followed Delaware plates. Him and other man. Tony, Jiraiya muttered. Vadim grunted. They leave pharmacy together. One vehicle. Stop at motel in Three Forks Junction and stayed. No one else came or left while we watched. Dahlia's musical tones broke in. They could easily be mistaken for drifters. She had no accent that he could discern, but the smirk she wore hinted her voice often dipped into sarcasm and sass at the drop of a hat or a dangly bat earring. The sound of another engine echoed through the trees. The others jerked, turning quickly toward the sound. They're not expecting anyone else, he mused. So who's this? He turned to see a dark pickup emerge from the tree line at an easy pace, and then suddenly accelerate. It surged across the remaining distance in seconds. It wasn't a wild or reckless acceleration, but it was certainly purposeful, maybe even emotional. It came to a stop in a spray of gravel, the damp mineral scent overpowering the lingering scent of horses. The driver launched out of the cab before the engine fully settled. Tall and broad, he closed the distance in long, hard strides. His gaze never left Vadim, his face set in a grim line. Jiraiya glanced between the two men and the women next to him. The women didn't seem surprised. Interesting, he thought. The newcomer stopped inches from Vadim and his jaw tightened. You've lost your damn mind being here, he spat. Silence settled over the clearing. Even the birds fell silent at this man's arrival. Vadim showed no outward reaction, just a small jaw twitch. Finally, he spoke. Miss Donna called? I come, Sven. Dun dun.
Izzy! That's where you left us. That's where you fucking left us.
It's probably all she had time for.
You realize that I was trying to write this yesterday and today, and this is what I was trying to write during my mad sprints today. And then it got too loud in the sprinting channel and had to jump. And I was still trying to focus, but we kept squirreling about other things in the story. So you can yell at me all you want, but thank you, Trisha.
Yeah, I kind of need this book.
Yelling.
Yes, yelling.
Hi, Six!
We might have come up with an idea that volunteers your talents. We'll discuss.
Hello, Six.
Yes, so Vadim.
Well,
the
I
button.
clicked the button. You click. Okay, did it not?
Oh,
Hold on.
I don't know. Hold on. Hold on. Except.
I'm on the wrong one.
Beep, 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 beep. Kitty sticks.
Hello, everybody. I still have all my fingers.
You need fingers to type.
Yes. Also keeps the wife happy. Where'd I go?
Oh my. Oh my. Julie, that took you a second, didn't it?
Oh, perfect. I'll take deaths when it comes up then. I'm down.
Sadly, you missed Jeffries, which there was a request, but I tried to do it justice. Everybody seemed to enjoy it, and there's more discussions to follow. that
Me.
you have to, yeah,
They include me, apparently.
yeah.
Yes.
Am I the
It's
official sound
good!
effects and Russian guy now? Is that it?
Well,
Hang on, okay. I know there's loud booms.
all right, Cash, you reading yours?
I mean, do you want me to?
It's up to you.
I suppose. Actually, it probably helps if I put my glasses
Maybe.
on. Maybe.
The number of times in the last 2 weeks that people have said I'm having a hard time reading, and I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, well, I forgot my glasses, or well, I don't have my glasses. Like, as someone who has had to have these things from the moment she wakes up to the moment she goes to bed in order to see anything, fuck y'all for being able to take them off whenever you fucking want. Love you, fuck you.
I mean, if I'm not wearing my contacts, I have to switch between pairs. So
Okay, and let's face it, can't afford them right now, but here we are. I do the best I can with what I got.
Yes, but the coworker forgot to grab them on his way out the door, and he said the only time he needs to use them is when he's staring at screens.
Which is my
Bro,
thing.
what
The
do
only time I need to fucking wear them is when I'm staring.
I need those too. I need blue light glasses.
bro? What do we do for a living? We stare at screens all day, and you forgot them out. Anyway, everybody, Cash Butler.
Okay. Oh, please. Come on. She blinked and rubbed her eyes in an attempt to get the debris, making them water. While she knew it was pointless, it gave her a temporary respite from the itchy dryness. Ultimately, it was a distraction she didn't need, a distraction from her mission. Odara had entrusted Frigg with scouting out the mines where the Alliance suspected the King of Death was making some secret weapon. There had been 5 Oskrai scouts sent, none of whom had returned, leaving them in the dark to what might lay ahead for them. Frigg approached the spot she felt would give her the best overview of her target, the trio of mine entrances and small lake quarry. If the gods and goddesses truly blessed her, what the soldiers gathered in the area might be doing. A few more meters and she would reach the rocky outcrop. She pushed through, reaching her goal a short time after trying to clear her vision. From the cliffside, Frigg could could see the smoke rising from the mine opening. Start over. From the cliffside, Frigg could see the smoke rising from one of the mine openings. It felt odd they would want smoke and fire inside the mine, but it was something she would mention to Adara when she returned to the Raven's Nest. Currently it was the only detail missed, but she crouched between the two dying trees, hoping the grayish white of the leather armor of her leather armor would help with her camouflage. Laying on her belly at the edge, she thanked her ancestors. The view over the scene was exactly what she had hoped for. She could barely see the lake and the limestone rock face above it through the billowing black smoke, but she could see the movement on the ground near the base. His servants were mining the limestone, shoveling them into mine carts and rolling them into the tracks into one of the other two shafts. There were also a small group of people walking by the drop into the water. One of them, dressed all in white, was flanked by two figures, doppelgangers, one of the few creatures able to overpower dragons. She realized who it was she was looking at. The scales along her spine shivered as the realization came to her. If the King of Death was there, and he had two of his shapeshifters, there would be more hiding among the workers and in the area surrounding the mine. Assessing the situation, she made the decision to stay where she was and watch. For several hours she surveyed the scene below, only moving to relieve pressure on her limbs and fear of catching the attention of anyone. She needed to move and eat, but caution was the first thing Frigg needed. Inch by inch she crawled on her stomach away from the edge, disappearing into the understory of the cropped trees which grew along the ridge. Once she was far enough back, she slowly pushed herself onto her knees and then stood, using a tree to keep her hidden from anyone below. Leaning carefully to the side, she peeked out, then looked at her surroundings before climbing the tree to hide among the green and yellow leaves, keeping the quarry in sight as best she could. She found a tree fork high enough she felt secure, but low enough she felt concealed. Settling in, Frigg allowed herself to relax so she could eat some rations and take a few sips from her water skin. The King of Death had disappeared into one of the non-smoking shafts an hour prior, allowing her to see if things changed while he went underground. Frigg pulled a small booklet of parchment along with a length of charcoal, taking notes of what she had seen and glancing around between words. She finished, slipping the parchment book back in her leg pouch, securing it and allowing herself a few more moments of quiet before deciding where she would move next. Movement at the mouth of the cave brought her out of her search. What seemed to be a fight between two figures spilled out into the dust and gravel spread out before the opening, the King of Death moving with intention toward the combatants. Reaching for the neck of one of the fighters, he pulled him away from the fight, kicking the second in the gut. The second fighter doubled over, and the king brought his foot to his side and pushed him over, the man sprawling across the dusty ground. The king, hold please. Dean, what are we doing? Okay. The king lifted the first fighter off his feet, the man's legs running in the air as he was taken further from the ground and flung over the king's shoulder, landing on the second man. The King of Death then walked to them, both men writhing in pain. Stepping between the two, the king bent over them, yelling at them. Frigg gasped at what happened next. It was so unexpected. She couldn't move for a few beats of her heart. Dude, leave my scream alone. She scrambled out of the tree, her mind focused on one thing, returning to the Raven's Nest and reporting to Adara. She needed to find an open space and take wing in the air, and she would be able to evade anyone who could have seen her. A flat area leading into the valley between the two of the spiraling mountains was ahead. Sorry, this is getting distracting with the dog. A flat area leading into a valley between two of the spiraling mountains was ahead of her. Her breathing was heavy as she broke through the tree line. She called forth her wings while sprinting across the field, extending them out to catch the wind. Frigg jumped, an updraft pulling her into the air, and her climb stopped and she slammed into the ground, of the blades of grass scratching the rough shoots of the blade grass scratching her face and arms. Something had a hold of her ankle and pulled her across the ground. A bone in her right wing snapped, a scream of pain erupting from the back of her head as the back of her head hit a rock. She saw what had pulled her from the air. No, she tried clawing the ground, attempting to escape. Frigg knew her fate. Another fast tug on her leg, and she came to a stop. The excited gurgling at her feet sent a chilly terror through her core. More joined the first. Frigg, realizing she was surrounded, tears streamed down her cheeks as she suddenly mouthed, "No, no, 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 no." The creature who had her leg brought her to a stop. The sounds of the monsters made, reaching a crescendo in her ears. She closed her eyes, wanting it to be over quickly, and it stopped. They quieted as quickly as they had started. Taking a risk and opening her eyes, she saw the King of Death standing over her. A deep intake of breath as she tried to control the shaking in her hands, an attempt to protect herself from whatever was going to happen to her. How wonderful! Another test step. Laughing, he threw his head back, the long white hair which hung over his shoulder fluttering in the breeze. You and all the other Valkyrie and Oskari scouts keep coming here trying to see what we're doing. Well, I assure you, you're going to get a very close look at what we have accomplished. His foot came to rest on her leather breastplate, and he leaned on his weight onto her chest and then placed his knee on her throat. Trying to breathe, she panicked as it grew harder for her to draw breath. Bring a gag. We don't want this one to bring the mine on everyone's head. The King of Death reached out with his hand, accepting a rope and a strip of cloth from someone she could not see. With a practiced hand, he tied her and placed the gag, standing once he was finished. Frey went rigid with what happened next. Multiple tentacles from the doppelgangers wrapped around her, the appendage wrapped around her neck and face, leaving the toxic mucus across her skin and lips. The mollifying effects creeping into her senses and clouding her mind to what was happening to her. I assume you're mad. The king's face leaned over, a hand moving her hair from her forehead almost tenderly. But coming here, like this, in the state you are in currently, will be infuriating for you. She looked at him, dazed and unsure what he meant, as an unsettling grin crept across his face. He looked away, disappearing from view. Then it became dark, and she saw nothing as they passed into one of the mines. The first hint of light was when they entered the cavern, light lit by torchlight, the stalactite coming from the ceiling thick and streaked with light and dark stripes of minerals dripping from places unknown. Your Majesty, I'm almost done with putting everything together so we can test this. Whoever was talking quieted and leaned in to look at her. The elfin's great pale skin and void-filled eyes examined her with a genuine curiosity. Is this what Suki will look like when she becomes a dragon? Wings and all? He over her to where the king stood. Yes, to an extent. She'll not have wings like this one does. This one is one of the Vermilion Battle Maidens. She sacrificed her ability to change into her true form for the ability to call forth her wings at will. They continued the conversation over her for a few more minutes. Hang her on the wall with the others. The king abruptly ended the conversation, turning away from the elfin, who stepped back from the doppelgangers carrying her. allowing them to continue their journey further into the cabin. They passed into a smaller side chamber, very dimly lit with a single gas lamp glowing red. They stopped moving again, the creature's gurgling sounds filling the space with their excitement. Yes, 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 I know. I will give you whoever survives the testing. You've been very patient. The King of Death's voice was muffled, and she was having a hard time keeping her eyes open. Almost senseless, she didn't realize the tentacle around her neck was tightening, cutting her off her airways. Krug! Enough! The king's white hair flared behind him as he charged the doppelganger, staring the beast down. Your patience will be rewarded. Now release her and hang her on the wall next to the others. The order was firm, and the doppelganger obeyed, moving in tandem with the other and placing her bound hands over a hook secured to the rock. Her feet dangled, unable to touch the ground. There we go. I hope the accommodations I'm providing are comfortable. His hand wrapped around her chin as he looked directly into her eyes. You're pretty far gone. By the time the toxin wears off, it'll be too late for you. He removed his hand and her head flopped forward. Her forehead began to throb as the blood rushed past her ears. Frigg tried to lift her head, but the muscles in her neck refused to work. She groaned, partially in pain, partially in frustration, unable to do much else. Dun dun dun.
You and those goddamn tentacled doppelgangers.
I knew you were going to yell at me.
I'm about to say I'm very disturbed by the damn doppelgangers. I've been disturbed by the doppelgangers ever since I heard the doppelgangers, and now I've got the twitch in my neck. I hope you're fucking happy.
I mean, expect anything less of me? Yeah, I didn't think so, Izzy.
No, not really.
I am now traumatized by the tentacles.
You're the one that
Fully,
into the last time.
fully 100% traumatized to the point where when doppelgangers appear, I don't hear anything else. I am stuck in the in the tentacles.
And mind you, she said stuck in the tentacles, not stuck by the tentacles. I just want to be, All right. Up next.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, hold on. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Wilhelm F. Ruffy, aka Death's Head. Yay.
That means I'm up. Okay. Tidewater Kingdoms, Book 1, Part 3. No content warnings. Light streamed through the parlor of King Pethrek's palace. The old monarch sat at his table, studiously ignoring a bowl of ever-thickening oatmeal as he instead indulged in walnuts, breaking open the little treasure chests with a simple metal cracker. His face was lined and eyes sunken. His remaining wispy hairs turned a ghostly white, and still he had the strength to break open his beloved snack, a smile curling his mustache-topped lips as he popped in the succulent meat. A knock interrupted him, the king calling, "Who has come?" "It's me, father," his eldest son, Galleon, said, pushing the door aside. Resplendent in the yellow and silver of their house's colors, the morning sun lit up his well-cropped black hair, dimpled chin, and twinkling green eyes, which any maiden ought to love. Pethrak stiffened at the thought, his hand shaking. Still he waved in Galleon, his eyes narrowing as a dust-covered man followed inside. "What have you brought this filthy bastard into my chambers for?" "Forgive me, father, this cannot wait," Galleon replied, offering a dust-covered scroll to Pethrak. "A most useful baron has sent this our way. It would seem that King Domzov has breathed his last." "Hardly surprising. The man is a northern warlord and was always of ill health." "His son perished too," Galleon replied. "His son by marriage, that is." Instantly, Pethrak rose from his chair, seizing the missive and reading it quickly. A rictus grin curled his lips as he chuckled. "Oh, those barbarians are trying to crown his bastard, while you are the rightful heir through dear grandmamma," Galleon said, nodding. "I knew this would be worth interrupting your breakfast." "You did well. Send a messenger to press our claim, and when that boy must refuse, we shall strike with the full might of the royal army." "No." Pethrak shook his head. "You think too small, my son. We call Duke Tavia to make up the bulk of our forces." "Yes, let him take the losses," Galleon said, "while I lead our men to victory and claim another crown." "No, Maithmon should lead." "I hardly think that necessary," Galleon said quickly. "This bastard boy won't scrape many men together. And besides, my brother is needed on the eastern marches, where our real foe lies in wait." "Boy, are you plotting?" Pethrak asked, all the warmth leaving his tone. No, I only think what's best for our kingdom and our family. We must have our best commander facing real foes." Pethrak stroked his wispy beard, uttering, "Perhaps it is time I grant you another chance to command men. Very well. Do not disappoint me." "You needn't worry, father," Galleon bowed. "Our plans are already coming together." Stifling unease filled Bothnik's hall, the notables of his realm slowly gathering for the Thing meeting. Jarl Vadecap was his right hand, while his lady mother and sister were to the left. Senal, his son Wistad, and Waithlin had taken seats near the door in case things became rowdy. Still, Bothnik shivered, gazing into the center of the room. On a pillar were the two crowns of his kingdom. One, a golden ring with 9 peaks for the great mountains, each formed of 2 feathers crossed together. The second was a helm with a matching golden circlet around the top, the faux feathers replaced by simple points. "You looking forward to donning your proper headgear?" Bothei asked in an encouraging tone. "Only if I am proclaimed king. By the whole meat may I wear them," Bothnik replied, his hand reflexively touching his brows. "Well, when, lad, when?" Jarl Vadecap coughed. "Give not the Hyman cause to curse your claim." Yes, when I am proclaimed," Bothnik said quickly, his heartbeat quickening. A clatter echoed through the hall, the doors opening as the crier announced, "His lordship, Honorable the Baron Hrubia, arrives with his nephew and their son and heir, Thordala." The two swept into the chamber, neither looking at Bothnik as they accepted offered beer and buttered bread before taking their seats. A shiver rolled through Bothnik, as his eyes flicked to the pair while his face remained forward. Thordala was friends with my brother, Heelvik. If they throw in for him... The doors banged again. The Count of Northwood, Althien, entering with his daughters, Birnilt and Geoste. All three were tall, rusty red of hair, and had short, pinched noses, which made them look as though they were carefully examining something. All three looked up at Bothnick, giving curt bows. Althien then spoke. Well met, son of Domzev. He was a good and fair man. The whole kingdom weeps for you for his loss. You have my thanks, Count, Bothnick said, trying to read what the man meant by his chosen epithet. Vadecap leaned over and whispered into his ear. That's a good sign. I had worried Althien might have already roped into some plot, but if he's hedging his bets, I doubt he's spoken to anyone. I disagree, Bothnick's mother murmured in his other ear. I believe Althien knows there is something afoot and is trying to stay out of it. Aren't those nearly the same thing? Bothnick thought despairingly as his head began to spin. He took a deep breath, focusing. Still, nothing unexpected. No sooner had he thought this than the doors opened, and two strangers arrived bearing the insignias of the Continental Earls Tival and Ursik. They both handed the herald letters, the man looking over them before calling out, I introduce Messenger Beartic and Herald Vrotel, who have come in their master's stead. They offer apologies that the Earls are busy, but wish to extend their condolences to you. You have my thanks, Bothnick said, his grip on the chair's arms tightening. For a spell there was silence, the arrivals tapering off. A few murmured conversations sprang up as some lower lords and men arrived. Amongst them, Baron Aethelbeer, 3 aldermen from nearby towns, and Orvald, the Ironworkers' Brotherhood. The question is, where is Heelvik? Bothnick thought, trying to picture his brother. Younger than he by 3 months, yet taller and more gallant by half. Will the Jarls rally to him over me? Is he quietly making his return? Oh, if only you asked for the crown, I'd hand it over in a heartbeat. Anything to have my brother back. Bothnick's mind had wandered when Count Audrey arrived, the second in command of his most potent rival. The tension rose anew. Bothnick bracing himself. His two most formidable opponents were to be Jarl Wilhelm, who had a claim to the throne through his grandmother, and Jarl Luthwir, who had blamed Bothnick's father for the loss of his uncle. And if they arrive together, that is a sign that war will be the only way to keep my throne. Perhaps a quarter hour came and went before the doors clattered once more. The crier calling out, The good Jarl Wilhelm has arrived. And in he swept, a towering bear of a man, one of the most fearsome warriors in his prime. His belly sagged now, his hair dyed a most unnatural black and combed over his scalp. Still he stared back with dark eyes still sharp, radiating all that power and fame. Flanking him was his second eldest son, Himral, and his shield maiden daughter, Hrolgara, both of whom carried their father's prowess without any softness of age. Bothnick held his breath, refusing to look away as the Jarl stepped to within arm's reach of the crowns. Both of his children stole glances at the articles of kingship, but Wilhelm stared back at Bothnick. The room fell silent, Bothnick waiting for the doors to clatter open and deliver Jarl Luthwir into the room and launch the conspiracy against him. Instead, the doors remained resolutely still. Heath and good tidings be upon you, Lord Bothnick, Wilhelm uttered, giving a curt bow with his 2 children. We all grieve for the loss of your father and brother. They will both of them ride with all orderer, of that I have no doubts, Himral intoned. Aye, Wilhelm and his daughter said together. I accept your tidings, my lord, Bothnick said, his stomach lurching at the stutter. He pushed forward, waving to his steward. Please, some refreshments, my compliments. Wasn't too long ago a man had to bite and sip in a hall, then fell down dead, Himral said icily. Son, behave yourself, Wilhelm snapped, taking bread and drink with his offering. Bothnick breathed a sigh of relief, turning to his mother such that no one else would see the warding sign against evil. Two things happened before as his finger dropped. The first was that he saw that Wilhelm had not taken his seat. The second was that the door opened once more. All eyes turned to the open portal as a figure stepped inside. Gasps echoed through the room, not the least of them from Wilhelm, for the figure wore a southern-style tunic of fine silk, and his hair was cropped low like a monk. He strode into the chamber, handing a letter off to the crier. Jarl Wilhelm and his children stepped aside as the man swept past them and kept approaching Bothnick. "Halt!" Wilhelm cried, laying a hand on his sword hilt. "Draw no closer." "Yes, who are you?" Vadecap demanded. "I am Pelios, envoy of King Pethrak." He lowered himself into an overly obsequent bow. "I offer my lord's dearest condolences for your loss." "I accept your tidings," Bothnick said, taking a small measure of solace, seeing that everyone else was as bewildered as he. Indeed, the doors had opened again, and Jarl Luthwer stood with his nephew and heir on the threshold, the thin-bearded man flat-footed. Vadecap spoke. "I hope you do not think us rude to ask by the Bugenthen. King has gone out of his way to send you here at this hour." "Yes," Senal said icily. "As expected, messenger entering a hall is rarely a cause for celebration, least of all one from the likes of Pethrak." "Ah, but you should all be rejoicing," Pelios said, taking out a piece of parchment, "for I come with good news, an end to the uncertainty and chaos consuming our fragile kingdom." "Out with it," Wilhelm barked. "What business does that snake have here?" No, I will ask that question," Bothnick said, struggling to master his tongue. "Pelios, what is your true reason for coming?" "I am so very glad you invited me to speak." He unfurled his parchment. "With the death of your father, King Donziv, there is no legitimate heir to the throne. Therefore, King Pethrak, my master, is pressing his claim. As your father has no living sons by marriage, his is the most righteous claim." Dead silence filled the chamber. Bothnick fought the urge to sway in his seat. "You're out of your wits," Jarl Vadecap scoffed. "Bothnick was acknowledged by his father, and there is no doubt of parentage." "By the laws of Bugenthe, he is a bastard." "You must be mad coming here to say this," Senal intoned, making Pelios pale. "And you had to know that you'd been rejected," Wilhelm said in a deadly tone, his jowls quivering in anger. "If that snake of yours wants a war—" Then his eyes flicked to Bothnick, an acknowledgement that only the king had final say. "This is ridiculous," Bothnick said. "We'll never bow to such a loathsome man." "Surely you fools had to know this was coming," Pelios said. "You hold rightful Bugenthe lands." "You're full of it," Luthwer scoffed, breaking his silence from the doorway. "Those domains passed to our dominion generations ago." And even if it were so, your king never pressed any claim to those lands," Bothnick said evenly. "This is all about power." "Irrelevant. How do you reply?" The ironworker Orvald marched across the floor, ripped the parchment from Pelios, and tore it to pieces. He turned to Bothnick and bowed. "Forgive me the breach of decorum, my king. I am but a humble guildman by trade." "You're forgiven." "This will lead to war," Pelios said quietly. "I suggest you reconsider." Seizing his chance, Bothnick called, "Who here acknowledges the claim of Pethrak? Anyone?" No, Senal said. Vadecap and Althean called in near unison. Never, came voices from the other benches. Tell your old man to enjoy his time with hell, Wilhelm hissed. By Tyr's oath, Luthwer intoned, I would sooner sail into the mouth of Yormer than bow to that conniving, contemptuous cretin. Then we need a king to stand against Pethrak, Vadecap said. All in favor of Bothnik, son of Domzav. A flurry of ayes and yeses rang through the hall, some more enthused than others, though none spoke against him. The weight inside Bothnik shifted form, as he, like all others in the room, looked down upon Pelios. You have your answer. And I am sure you well know what message that will send to my master, Pelios said quietly. Shall I put his head into a box? Wilhelm barked. That would send a message, my king. No, Bothnik said firmly. I want him to tell all, in detail. A few in the crowd murmured, Bothnik holding up his hand, looking to Wilhelm. Though I ask, good Jarl, this man has 2 legs, does he not? He does, Wilhelm said slowly. A guttural noise escaped Pelios's throat. Then I see no need for our guest to have his horse, Bothnik said calmly. He may walk back to his king. This is outrageous, Pelios croaked. You should thank your god, Sanal said dryly. We were speaking of sending your head back in a box only moments ago. Silence, Bothnik said, looking to Luthwer, still standing on the threshold. Good Jarl Luthwer, is the weather good? It is, Luthwer replied. Then he needs nothing more than a single length of cloth. Don't you agree? I doubt he needs it to be large, Luthwer said thoughtfully. You cannot mean, Pelios stammered. Luthwer, I task you with carrying out my will. Make sure he arrives home safely, and in the state we prefer. I shall set my best men to the task, my king, Luthwer said, the last word dribbling from his mouth. I should hope so, Wilhelm said, shooting the other Jarl a glance. A message passed between them, Luthwer's face darkening before he turned away, calling out, I've no further business at this meet. I shall execute the command and rally my troops to the royal banner. We all must rally, Vadecap said, unsheathing his sword. For the honor of our crown and the glory of whatever gods we revere. All in attendance joined, Bothnik too lifting his sword. Then he stepped from the dais and approached the plinth. Sanal and the already present Wilhelm placed the helmet war crown upon him, the weight sending a thrill of fear through him. Dun, dun, dun.
It just sounds so much more authentic when Styx reads it.
Guys. I mean,
I
to be fair, German and English are nowhere near Old English, which is closer to Friesland.
Right, no, but okay, one of my favorite television shows and sequel movie is The Last Kingdom.
Yes.
7 Kings Must Die. Right?
Mhm.
And I sincerely felt like I was standing in court with those people. It's a very good question, Death.
I have a suggestion for it.
There we go.
So I'm assuming you're talking about the jump from Pethrax to Bothnik's halls. Is that what you're referring to in the section split? I just want to make sure I got that right before I stick my foot in my mouth because I've been sweating all day and it won't taste good. Did I kill Death's Head too? Hello? Paging Death's Head. Paging Death's Head.
He's probably laughing at his face. Yeah, breathe, Izzy, please breathe.
First section just lays out what's okay. So my suggestion still kind of fits that. Between those two halls, I would just put like never mind, because they're slightly maybe if you even just put like a slight transitional sentence like miles and days away in another, in a similar hall, and then it goes to both Nick's hall, like, and it would give the courier Pelios time to travel there, and it kind of like truncates his journey, but it still shows that there's a break between the two. You don't need to add a lot, I don't think. But something we can talk about off stream in more depth because I'm probably not getting what you're trying to get across either. But anyway, you kept me on my toes with that one. There were so many voices.
But I love your old kingly / wizard voice. Like when it's a wizard, when it's a wizard, you use that voice. When it's an old fuck off king, you use it. It's great.
It's my generic old man voice.
Yes, I love that voice.
You shall not participate.
Oh my goodness.
Take that, copyright.
Duck! The giggles have killed my lung capacity. Rock, paper, scissors.
I was gonna say, I don't know how much you guys have been reading tonight. Depending on that, I can finish things out, or if Kesh is up for another one, go for it. She's already pulled out the tablet. She's raring. Izzy, I see you.
Drink real quick. A crowd of shoppers passed us as we idled in the marketplace. I hope no one heard what she said. Taya, did I really believe that she could read minds? I mean, if nymphs exist, who was I to say telepathy did not? Maybe she got a boon. Sweat dripped off her brow, and I didn't catch what she had said. I could barely hear the murmurs or screaming children over the cartilage crushing buzz in my ears. I was processing, and words just got small. There we go. The cartilage crushing buzz in my ears. I was processing. Why did Mayor Atwaters want to make Shades riot? I couldn't see the bigger, shittier picture. What good would it be to make them go nuts? They were all docile beings, but they were also quirky. If a tiny shade like Spooks could rearrange a whole ass kitchen, then Locke, who was bulkier than a human, could throw boulders like Andre the Giant. As gentle as she was, Locke would sometimes have tantrums if she didn't get snuggle time. Taya tried breaking away from my grip. She dipped and sunk her teeth into my arm. Damn, bite was sharp. Ow! I yelled. Don't manhandle me. She sniffed, shrugging me off and staggering back like a flightless jay. She paused, retained her balance, and crossed her arms. And I don't know. I know that's what I heard in my dad's thoughts. Depending on what gave her the boon, she could be fine. But if it was something malicious, she would be royally fucked. Some cryptids liked to get creative. I shook my head. It has nothing to do with me. You're gonna ditch me, she snapped, her voice pitching. Damn it! That was going to get annoying. I wiped my face as Taya swayed like she was going to faint. She struggled to stay balanced on her feet. I hardened my gaze as sweat framed her heart-shaped face. She was overheating herself on purpose. Idiot. She almost looked pathetic, and I nearly felt sorry for her. Take it off, Elm said. What? Taya snapped. No. The hoodie, smarty pants. People see me. I couldn't keep my eyes from rolling. I pulled her by the hoodie, opened my mouth to call her an idiot, but the words didn't come out. Fine. I snapped my pie hole shut and continued to pull her along the cobblestone. I hate this, but fine. Her ballet flats grated against the rough surface of basalt pavement, but it wasn't enough to resist me. A little boy passed matches amongst the crowd. Some ignored him and smugly showed off a lighter they already had from probably a gas station. A few tipped him, but with pocket coins, and went on their way. Others snatched the matchbox without offerings and ran back to a woman with tears in his honey brown eyes. They were honey brown like his. Damn it. They had a little stall wedged between two noisy vendors. Candles, incense, and other dated wares sat on the surface of their table. I sighed. A handful of families tried to keep traditions alive around Woe's Day, but I saw less and less stalls making it during flea markets. No one wanted to make wishes on matches anymore. He handed the very little spoils he earned to her, and she stuffed them into a beat-up box. They weren't too far from my stride. I shook my head, fished out $1 from my pocket, slid it into their table, and moved on. Taya's head cocked. I didn't even give her a chance to ask a question and let the current of the crowd take us forward. I know a place where we can cool down, I said. I know how creepy that sounds, but I try to make it sound normal. Better not be your place, she grumbled. What's with you and the match boy? I shook my head. I continued. I'm flattered you think I'm a playboy, but that's not me. She snorted, her disbelief stinging my ego. I scooped her into a firefighter carry, and she squeaked. Soaking wet, she was probably 130 pounds, but it's rude to ask, so I waved for another pack of people with some with shades, some carrying homemade candles. They lit wicks one by one, murmuring prayers in the names of the departed. I compartmentalized my dread, though I itched to break free from that prison. Put me down, she hissed. Hold tight, I murmured. It sucked, but she was right. No one even batted an eye in my direction. They all gave us a wide berth, and with such compliance we might even get get to the ugly duckling in 12 minutes instead of 15. Most people in town scorned me or neglected me from fear of association. Those who didn't gave two shits about local Carol's assumption of devil worship and allowed me to coexist in peace. Rest stops like the ugly duckling made me feel safe. It was a little shack with an apartment upstairs where the family stayed. Downstairs was a bulletin board and a time-stamped sheet for surfers. Sorry. It was a little shack with an apartment upstairs where the family stayed. Downstairs was a bulletin board and a time-stamped sheet for surfers. Many types of chairs and small side tables were spread across the hardwood floor for people who just wanted a break from the heat. Sometimes Luetta made lemonade for anyone who wanted it. Strawberry, lavender, raspberry, honey basil. That charming woman loved to try and make all kinds of brews, and they weren't overly sweet either. All I needed to do was make my way to the town's cliff, climb down to the second ledge, and coast down the hill that led to it. The ugly duckling was wedged next to the coastline on purpose, meant for skimboarders and surfers to intervene before they hit the waters. The UD? Taya asked. People go there. It'll be less crowded, I countered. Besides, the people are more bearable. The sigh she uttered had an edge to it. She needed to work on her attitude if she wanted me to not toss her aside and go by myself. Sorry, she grumbled. That was going to get annoying. And she apologized again, and I sighed and ran my hand through my hair. It defied gravity, but the winds pushed it around, and it was getting too long. Go bald, she quipped. Pompadours are out of style. Funny, I was going to. When I got to the cliff, my words fell back into my throat all the way down to my feet. Smoke. There was smoke rising from the UD. Get on my back, I commanded. She didn't hesitate to shift, but it was a little awkward. When she got into piggyback style, I bolted at full speed for the shack. Taya squeezed tight and she nearly got my windpipe, but I adjusted her arms so I could keep going. I didn't care that my legs were screaming. I didn't care that my inhaler was in my other pants. I needed to make sure no one was hurt, that they were okay. When I reached the grassy sand, Taya hopped off my back and pulled out her phone. I took a minute to wheeze my breath back to a more bearable state. Why hasn't this been reported yet? She asked. When my breath stabilized, I continued on. I could hear her stumbling behind me, trying to get my attention, but I marched on. When I got to the base of the UD, the windows spat out shards of glass. The sign that always hung proudly was hacked in two. The pieces of wood and glass scattered in its range. Smoke plumed out of the cracks like the shack was a dragon who had been provoked too many times. I took out my bandana from my back pocket and covered my mouth as the ashes littered the sand. It wasn't until I circled to the side when I saw the neighbors, regulars, a couple of locals, passing filled buckets to a shade with an elephant-like trunk. The body hunched with all six arms as they drew in the next batch of water. The shade created a safe path for any lingering shades inside. They all scuttled out as quickly as they could, but tension choked the air. You must be upset coming here like this, Taya whispered. Was that her attempt at consoling? It sucked. She winced as if I spoke the words right from my mouth. She attempted to put a hand on my shoulder, but I shrugged it off. I approached the owners, a couple who had once lived on Main Street. The man, Davy, held his wife in his arms. His receding line seemed to sag in woe. Of all the days to feel woe, woe's day was becoming a little too literal. I approached the wife, Lucetta, Lucetta and gave her a big hug. She wept in my chest. "We can't find her," Lucetta sobbed. I sucked in air. Phoebe. She was only 10, but wore slap bracelets and drew on her vans with colored Sharpies. She hated minions and the color blue. She wasn't afraid to fight a boy twice her size if he bothered her friends. And most importantly, she was my first customer. Her parents accepted Boris, and he made other shades feel safe. It couldn't be a coincidence that they were missing during this. The air was foul. Little Phoebe was missing? Taya asked. How did she know Phoebe? Phoebe. She threw off the hoodie and hung it over her shoulder. An off-the-shoulder shirt fluttered in the wind and tight leggings hugging her legs. I help the schoolhouses sometimes, she said. She loves to run off to the arcade across the street. Too far from here, I said. I winced as the sign's two pieces fell apart. Something inside collapsed into the ongoing fire, too. My gut twisted as a horrible thought came to me. My eyes widened. You're sure she's not? Davy shook his head. No, she was gone with Boris before Carol stopped by. Carol Crossman? I rolled my eyes. You don't think she... Taya said. I covered her mouth before she finished that sentence. We'll look into Phoebes and Boris, I said. Do you have a... Davy smiled. A neighbor is already setting up his guest room for Lulu and me. Bring Phoebe back. We'll be at the shore at 7 for the lanterns. He nodded triumphantly, but his wife elbowed him to jog his memory. He chuckled nervously and gave me an apologetic smile. Right. You won't be there. Taya's eyes flicked between mine and his with a question written all over her face. Yeah, text me the address and I'll drop her off at that, I said. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. More of the shades. Oh, first draft, Doc. It's a first draft. It's fine. And death.
Apologize for the jump scare, folks. I didn't realize that my headset going, I'm dying, was going to come through. It is what it is.
Well, now we know for the future.
I was
Exactly.
like, who's dying? What's dying?
What's
We're just making
dying?
sure.
Izzy's ears are dying.
And Styx's heart.
No, not allowed.
Whew, just making sure it's still working. That doesn't look like one more name on the wheel. That does.
Trisha!
Trisha! Are you still here, Trisha?
Yeah, she's here.
She's still here. I had a quick question before I dive into this. Do you use dictation software? Okay. Alrighty then. Well, I'm gonna dive on into it. We have no title on this one. Also, There's going to be a scene very early on in this submission that if anybody clips out of context, I may end up banning, so don't do it. But I get to whip out my actual deep southern accent for this here one because some locations, without giving anything away, we're going to dive right into it here. One day, while I was working, a man came in and asked one of my coworkers if I was working. She pointed over to me where I was wiping down tables. He walked over to where I was, but stopped a few tables away. Allura? He said my name more like he was asking if it was me. I turned to face him. How can I... Daddy? Yes, baby girl. It's me, he said, smiling. I tackle hugged him. Oh, Daddy, I missed you. I missed you too, my sweet girl, he said. We released each other. I'll be right back. Please don't leave, I said, backing towards the kitchen. I'm not going anywhere just yet, he said, sitting down at a table. I ran to the back to let the manager know I was taking my break, which she was okay with, since it was slow. I ran back out to where I left my dad sitting. I grabbed 2 glasses of water on the way. I set the glasses on the table before sitting across from him. What brings you here, Daddy? I asked, trying not to be too excited about seeing him. I heard you'd moved nearby and wanted to see you, he said, looking at his glass of water. Why didn't you see me after you left Mama? I asked. Well, your mama wouldn't let me near you. He took a drink of water. You know she has friends on the police force in that town. They would have made things so much worse. I nodded because I knew he was right. We sat without speaking for a moment. You live nearby? I asked, breaking the silence. Yeah, I live a couple towns over, he answered. What made you move up here? I took a deep breath and told him about being attacked by my uncle on Mama's orders because I didn't believe in God anymore, which I was infected by lycanthropy by my uncle in the attack. Then Mama kicked me out and I moved up here. Oh my God, Laura, I am so sorry that happened, Daddy said, taking my hands in his. That's not the craziest part, I said, informing him about Drew's visit and Mama trying to burn down my apartment building with me inside. Why? Was all he could say. Because I said no to going down to the farm and allowing Preacher to rid me of the demon inside me, I told him. My uncle showed up a few days later and scared the shit out of me, claiming he just wanted to talk. Of course, I called the police and he got arrested. All because you don't believe in God? He asked. That is how it started, I answered. But Mama wanting the preacher to get the demon out of me, and because I said no, well, Mama's decision to try to burn my apartment building, now because I have lycanthropy. He looked confused, so I added, She claims the fact that I shift to a direwolf on the full moon every month means I have a demon in me. And you're direwolf shifter now because your uncle is a direwolf shifter and infected you with this? He asked. I nodded. And I have a restraining order out against all 3 of them. My uncle got out on bail, but he got arrested again because he was lurking around my apartment building. He was claiming he just wanted to talk, so I met with him to find out what the heck was going on, and I got terribly angry because he did what Mama asked for a fucking sandwich. He sat there and thought quietly for a moment before saying, All 3 are here in jail? Yes, they are, I answered. Would you mind if I went and paid them a visit? He asked. I have no problem with it, but I think I better go with you, I said. I get off work in a couple hours. Can you wait until I get off work? He nodded. A few hours later, we were standing in front of the police station. He looked at me and said, Are you sure you want to go with me? Yes, sir, I answered. The officer was sitting behind the desk when we asked about visiting with not only my mama and my brother Drew, but as well as my uncle. Daddy had a few words to say to them. The officer pointed us over to an area to wait, and that they'll get us when they have them all in a room, and that they'll have police officers in there for our safety. Daddy and I sat and waited for a while when a police officer came up and led us into the room where we were to sit across a table from the three of them. Daddy took a few deep breaths before saying, "Are you mad? The three of you came up here to harass Allura?" They sat quiet for a moment before Mama started pleading with Daddy. "She has a demon in her. It needed to be removed, and I did what I thought I needed to do. Unfortunately, it's against the law." "Woman, you will shut your mouth. It is your fault that our daughter has lycanthropy because you asked your brother, who has lycanthropy, to attack her," Daddy all but yelled. Drew decided he should say something at that moment. "The preacher says he can remove the contamination from Allura. She won't come back down to Mississippi." Daddy turned to Drew. "Young man, you have no say in what is happening here. You should never have come up here. And about that preacher, he is a lying snake oil salesman." My uncle opened his mouth but never got a word out. Daddy said, "And Sebastian, you have no say either. You sold yourself for a damn sandwich. I hope you rot in here." Daddy stood up and started walking out the door. "Come on, Allura. We have some catching up to do." Dun dun dun.
Depends on the.
Go ahead.
I just need a minute. I just need 5 minutes.
Just
I just want
5 minutes. Just 5 minutes with those motherfuckers. Just want to talk. No, ignore the nails sticking out of my back.
Ignore the lichtenberry bush that I happen to have up my sleeve.
Right? Ooh. Ooh.
No, not a 2x.
So it's harder to get a good grip on a 2x4.
About to say, you're not gonna get a good fucking swing.
Yeah.
If you two-hand a 4x4.
Now, 1x on the other hand.
Yeah, but 1x is gonna break. Now, okay, Sticks, I agree with you. However, all of the posts on my porch are 4x4. I got tiny hands.
I
It's
don't.
great
That's
for
why you
men's-
call me in.
Right, but I mean, my tiny hands are great for men's ego boosts. But that's besides the point. 4x4, need a dude with bigger
Hold on,
hands.
rewind. We're not going to skip over that. What did you just say? I want to hear that one more time. 4x4? What? Go ahead, girl. Did that story affect you a little bit? They got that there 4x4?
We've already discussed ad nauseum that when Julie gets in her feels, she starts being more southern. And I'm a mimic. Just like you. So stop.
Shoot, girl, I didn't know I just had to talk like
We
this,
ain't
but
talking
you
about
get
my
down
southern drawl here.
there.
No, it's no. It triggers it in me. He's over here making fun of me because the way I said 4x4, and I'm like, shit,
You just
dickhead.
you just jumped state lines there. You went from
No, that's
Alabama
not
to
what he's
Georgia.
talking about. He was talking about the hand and the ego boost.
No, I was talking about the 4x4 in the southern language.
He was
there.
ignoring the ego boost. I knew what he was saying. The two of you ladies did not skip over that. He did. All right. Any bahoozle.
Time to roll for next week's prompts.
Time to roll for next week's prompt. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm in hell. I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole and somebody else pushing.
You keep jumping state lines. You're confusing me. Which part of the South are you from?
I'm not.
You went from the Alabama, Mississippi
darling.
4x4 to the Georgia 4x4, like, and then you came on up to the Tennessee twang, and you said, "And I ain't gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole and somebody else pushing."
Because I'm not from the South, my guy.
If anybody here is from the South, you know that you know exactly where somebody's from by their Southern accent.
Because I'm from Northeast Indiana.
Cash, you're gonna be okay.
No, she
Anywho.
can't handle all the rednecks arguing about accents.
Poor Kish. Any which
waiting.
way.
Poor
Any
Cash.
bahoozle.
Now Kesh needs to breathe. Where's your inhaler? Mine's right here.
I'm waiting for Kesh's Bane impression. Are you not entertained?
Knowing Kish is on the other side of the damn computer screen.
Shit, she might need Bane's
Oh my
breathing
God.
mask after this.
Nothing funnier than a bunch of fucking rednecks arguing with each other.
Oh my God. And she came damn close to hitting the Fozzie pterodactyl. Good God.
I want
May
credit
he
for that one.
Breathe, little
Got
mama,
the camera
breathe.
off.
May he rest in peace. Dear Fozzie. Oh. Okay. What is our concept number?
44.
44. A character is mistaken for someone else, and it starts opening doors they don't deserve.
Jesus Christ. Okay. $91.
Vroom, 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 vroom. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. I'm on a computer without a mouse for this, so it's.
Come on, get.
Oh shit! Horror Queen submission.
Ooh.
Jesus.
Line.
All right. Well,
The whispers of the wind carried the scent of rain and forgotten memories. Submitted by Dahlia.
okay. And last but certainly not least, 108.
Horror Queen again! No, we are bribing you with the antidote. You have 3 days until the poison kills you. Think about it. Once again, reading them out so that Styx can double check his typing. Concept. A character is mistaken for someone else, and it starts opening doors they don't deserve. Line. The whispers of the wind carried the scent of rain, forgotten memories. Submitted by Delia. Dialogue. No, we are bribing you with the antidote. You have 3 days until the poison kills you. Think about it.
This is gonna make Dahlia actually have to write this week.
I mean, two of hers are up against each other? Shit.
Someone might want to tell her.
Yeah, right?
I will be the first one to get on the horn with her as soon as we're done here.
Oh, I almost got all the spelling right. I messed up. I missed an E on antidote. I was so close.
Well, that's fine. It's spelling. You got the words. That's
You also forgot the H in Dahlia's name, but that
See, that one I didn't know as much. Is it after the D or at the end?
DAH.
Right before the DAH. Okay, I will fix it if one of those wins and I put it up in the pinned comment.
There we go.
None of these work for my idea for this week. No, actually, one of them does. I have to vote for it.
Oh. I do like the concept, but up against Dahlia prompts, it has no chance.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it can be woven in with the Dahlia prompts. It usually is, but
Oh yeah. That's kind of what I like about the way we've got this set up. You've got the official one, right? And then people start adding in pieces, bits from the other ones to really just kind of flesh it out and go into different directions. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, only the opening line actually works for my book. I mean, I can make the other one work as a scare tactic, but
Yep.
because it is Roscoe. And I understand we did not get a Roscoe prompt this week, mainly due to the fact that it icked me out. So I'm like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah. Sometimes when you got to delve into that, which let's be fair, right? July's challenge is fractured mirror. Go from a different perspective. The problem is that when you're used to going from the protagonist's perspective or the main character, and now you got to flip into the villain's perspective, that can sometimes give you the massive fucking ick. Yes, thank you so very much for voting. 8 out of 8. You guys are brilliant. You guys are amazing. Strong arm your friends into joining us more often. Even if they don't write, we're entertaining. You in the comments are entertaining. So there it is. It's the line. The whispers of the wind carried the scent of rain and forgotten memories. Submitted by Horror Queen herself, Dahlia McEachern. And we do have the July Fractured Mirror monthly challenge forum post up with some various information in there. Please feel free to ask questions, add resources that you come across, etc., etc., etc. It is also linked in this week's prompt post. And hey, by the way, I actually got the time right this time.
You did. You very much did.
Sleep. Have good sleep, good sir.
Night, Bitzer. All right, so that's the dealio. Wow.
That was an amazing night.
Oh, fuck
A
yeah.
lot of good prompts, as per usual.
People usually sleep at nighttime, Bitzer.
Either which way.
So good night is have a good sleep. Julie, every single night, every single weekend, you say we have a great show tonight, and I'm like, how do you know? Have you read all of the prompts before we get to it, and that's how you know it's a good show?
Because it's a good show, even if there are no prompts,
Well,
because
I
I
know.
you
know
guys
that
are here.
I personally edited. I mean,
Give me a
it's
hard time.
our crew. Of course, it's going to be a good show.
How is that? No, it's due Saturday, July 11th, 2026. Shitballs!
What did you forget?
You got the episode number wrong again.
Look, back end shit. All right, we're lucky that I remember to show up.
Fair.
Yeah, it's fixed. It's fixed. Thank you, though. I'll be the first one to admit when I'm wrong. I'm rarely wrong. But I'll be the first one to admit when I'm wrong, and I'll also be the first one to admit when I make a mistake. Mistake and being wrong are two different things, but Sticks, just stop.
I'm just really glad you finished that sentence because you just left it on a cliffhanger that came out as I'll be the first to admit that I'm wrong. I'm rarely wrong.
I
And I
am.
thought that was the end of the statement, and I was just about to be like, okay.
Being wrong and making a mistake are two different things. They're similar, but they're two different things.
We're just
All
arguing
right,
some
folks. Thank you once again to C.R. McCormick for making this month's theme graphic. We're going to get the we're going to get the contest thing up and running in the next couple of days. We'll get that going, and you could be our graphic designer for August and September going forward. And it will be voted on by your peers. So, there we go. You're a part of this show whether you like it or not. You show up and you submit. We love you for it. All right. Julie looks like she's about ready to pass the fuck out. I will be in the Discord. I don't know about anybody else, but for our after even more unhingedness, that's where I will be.
Oh yeah, I'll be around for a little while longer, but that's about it. But any which way, thank you guys for showing up. Week in and week out. That's how I know we're gonna have a great show because you guys are here. It doesn't matter what we have to put out. It matters that y'all show up and we're here and we're gonna be unhinged regardless if we have anything to read or not. As you guys seen, Sticks pumps in, and before we know it, you have three rednecks arguing with each other. It's a hoot. It's a fucking hoot. This is where we're at. If you're not part of the fucking Discord, why the fuck not? It's free. Go ahead and do the thing. Sends you over to the place. You know what to do. Also, same thing with the fucking newsletter. Yes, I'm very well aware the newsletter did not go out this week. Give me some grace. I very rarely give it to myself. Either which way, come back for Book for Friday. We've got two authors. Who do we got going on this week?
I'll make sure to wear my gothy just to make that true. It's not very gothy, by the way.
Okay, I'm lost. We've got Cindy Beck and John Newton coming up on Booked for Friday. Cindy does fantasy romance, and John is a historical science fiction. I've seen both of these people interviewed together, and they were literally together in the same room when they interviewed. It was great. They are a hoot and a half, and we will be so happy to welcome them to the show on Friday night for Book for Friday. If you guys don't have your calendars already set, preset now for 7 o'clock on Friday, and it'll be me and Sticks or me and whoever doing the thing, being the place. It's what we do. Uh, Barring any more electrical interference, and that's the reason that I haven't done a whole lot of talking tonight, is because I keep blipping in and out on my end. So let's just be thankful that Sergeant Scuff got wrangled before it got too bad.
At least he's sleeping over at
Otherwise,
your house.
show up Saturday night, be here for the reading. Huh? Okay. Uh Either which way, now
If
I
we
fucking
weren't
lost my train of thought. Thanks.
if we
Be here
weren't all
Friday night, be here
tired,
Saturday night.
yeah.
Write your
If
prompts.
we weren't all tired, I'd say let's raid out to Jumsy. But it's been a long week, the heat and everything else. We're just gonna end out tonight.
Yeah, especially since my neighbors keep moving their fireworks from their front yard to their backyard, and I thought at one point I was gonna have to go and put my tree out.
Oh,
Thankfully, it was wet enough that it didn't catch my tree on fire. So either which way, be brave, be bold, always stay humble. Don't add to the population, don't subtract from the population. If you get your ass fucking arrested, unless it's good for a good reason, we won't take up a fucking collection for your commissary. Be brave, be bold, always stay humble. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.